Chapter 2014. Bang. With just a single stroke, the terrifying sharpness of the reincarnation brush erupted. It was invincible and the entire cage space was split open as if it had been torn apart by a sword. That transparent spatial barrier also shattered like glass. Cracking sounds rang out as spatial fragments continuously fell down. The entire formation completely collapsed just like that. It was completely torn apart. At the same time, the 8 demon sealing tombstones were sent flying by the terrifying chi and could no longer maintain the matrix. The entire world returned to a clear world where nothing could obstruct it. How is this possible? The people from the radiant moon race and the glorious sun race were dumbfounded. They were completely dumbfounded. They would never have thought that such a thing would happen. With just a single strike, the restrictive matrix that they had painstakingly set up was torn apart. One must know that this was a matrix set up by 8 inferior-grade sacred artifacts. Even billions of demons could be easily suppressed and could not be broken through. It was known as an unbreakable prison. But what exactly is going on right now? Merely a single strike has shattered this formation into pieces. Isn't this a little too absurd? Isn't this a little too much? As expected of Brother Wudi. You are so strong. Xing Yongming and the others were overjoyed. They thought that they were dead for sure. After all, this was a fatal trap set up by the radiant moon race and the glorious sun race. Moreover, 8 inferior-grade sacred artifacts were used at the same time. How could they withstand it? However, they didn't expect that Xia Ping would be able to destroy the restrictive array formation all by himself in such a short period of time, breaking the cage. This way they could escape at any time. Nice Dharma treasures. They're all mine. Xia Ping waved his hand. Immediately, the Scarlet Sun Demon Sealing Tombstone and Mystic Moon Demon Sealing Tombstone floating in midair were sucked into his hand and imprisoned by his restrictive matrix. Immediately, the 8 Demon Sealing Tombstones were struggling non-stop, trying to break free from Xia Ping's hand. He felt that these sacred artifacts were very suitable for him. If he could snatch them away, they would definitely be very beneficial to him. Moreover, this was also to punish the 2 races for attacking him. A small punishment was a great warning and he needed to compensate them. Stop. This is the sacred artifact of the Radiant Moon race. How dare you snatch it? Damned bitch of the Starlight clan. If you dare snatch away my clan's sacred artifact, my glorious Sun clan will never let you off. Let go of your filthy hands right now. This is my clan's sacred artifact. It is not something you can touch. When the leaders of the Radiant Moon race and the glorious Sun race saw this, they were both shocked and enraged. They felt as if their hearts had been grabbed by someone. This was a sacred weapon of their race and was extremely precious. They were only able to lend them out because they wanted to fight for this large world. If they lost these saint artifacts, they would be severely punished when they returned to their clans. At that time, even if they were not executed, they would be imprisoned as criminals for at least a few thousand years. How could they bear the thought of their sacred weapons being snatched away? You still want to struggle? Die. Without waiting for the 2 races to make a move, Xia Ping immediately poured the infernal golden crow flames in his body into the demon sealing tombstones. In an instant, the enormous flames surrounded the 8 demon sealing tombstones. Crash! In an instant, the artifact spirits inside the 8 demon sealing tombstones let out blood-curdling screams. At the same time, their mental connection with the leaders of the 2 races was immediately severed, and they were completely burned away. Ah! Immediately, the leaders of the 2 races let out blood-curdling screams. Their mental connection with the sacred weapons was severed, and they immediately suffered a severe backlash. They coughed out blood on the spot, their minds injured and their breathing weak. After a few breaths, the 8 demon sealing tombstones stopped struggling. Obviously, they were frightened by Xia Ping's means. If they continued to burn, their minds would be burned into nothingness. As a result, Xia Ping easily refined the 8 demon sealing tombstones and became their master. Small. With a thought, Xia Ping controlled the 8 demon sealing tombstones that were even taller than mountains rapidly shrank to the size of glass beads, lying obediently in his palm. Starlight race, you and I are irreconcilable. I won't rest until one of us is dead. Seeing this, the leaders of the glorious Sun race and the Radiant Moon race were so furious that they coughed out blood again. They knew that the 8 infernal sacred weapons no longer belonged to them. This bitch had forcefully snatched away their beautiful wives in front of them. This was a huge humiliation that could not be washed away. Serves you right. Seeing the miserable appearance of the 2, Xing Yongming gloated. Although his sacred weapon was also taken away by Xia Ping, it did not stop him from hitting the 2 when they were down and mocking them. After all, These two races had joined hands to set up a trap to kill them all and eliminate them completely. Now that they had lost a few sacred weapons, it was already too easy for them. Foolish Radiant Moon Clan and Radiant Sun Clan. This is the result of offending our Starlight Clan. Earlier you were acting all high and mighty. Now all 8 of your low-grade saint artifacts have been snatched away by us. I'd like to see just how you fellows can continue to act so arrogantly. Come on. Take out your saint artifacts to put on a show. Xing Yongping and the others were extremely pleased. Xia Ping had helped them vent their anger. These two races had been extremely arrogant just now, wanting to catch them all in one fell swoop with just 8 infernal sacred weapons. They were scared out of their wits. Now that they finally had the upper hand, there was no reason not to hit them when they were down. Warriors of the glorious Sun race and the Radiant Moon race, listen up. Attack together and kill this despicable Starlight race. Tear him into pieces. We must take back those sacred weapons. They are the sacred weapons of our race and we can't lose them. Otherwise all of us will be in big trouble. The leader of the Radiant Moon race shouted with a sinister expression as he gave the order. The thousands of warriors of the Radiant Moon race and the glorious Sun race behind him shivered. They also knew the severity of this matter. Even if they didn't get the origin energy of this world, they couldn't lose the sacred weapons. Don't be anxious. Suddenly Xia Ping waved his hand and gazed into the distance. I know very well that you fellows want to snatch back the sacred artifact. However, before we deal with that, we have to deal with some rats first. Otherwise we might all be wiped out. What? Hearing this, the warriors of the Radiant Moon race and the glorious Sun race were shocked and looked at each other. Could there be other forces lying in ambush here? But when they scanned the surroundings with their divine senses, they didn't find any auras. The two leaders sneered. Just as they were about to mock Xia Ping for pretending to be mysterious and deceptive, Xia Ping suddenly moved. Interesting. You guys still haven't come out. Do you really think that your concealment abilities are unparalleled in the world and that no one can discover you? Come out now. Chapter 2015. Dong. In an instant, an earth-shattering sound came from the empty void. It was as if a train had crashed into a mountain, causing dazzling sparks. Whoosh! In the next second, a dense crowd of people appeared in the void. All of them were holding powerful treasures in their hands. Their faces were filled with astonishment. They did not expect that they would really be discovered. After all, they had used the Void Boat, a middle-grade sacred artifact that could hide in the depths of the void. It was invisible and did not leak any aura. They should not have been discovered. But now he had really been discovered, and his position had been accurately located. However, they did not know that Xia Ping had the Golden Crow's eyes of hell. His eyes could see through all illusions in the world. Even if they were hiding in the depths of the void, they could not hide from his eyes. Damn it. There are really enemies lying in ambush nearby. Humans. They are humans. Bastards. Why would humans appear in this place? The mantis stalks the cicada, unaware of the oriole behind. Could it be that humans have been the oriole all this time? They want to see us and the Starlight race to be mutually injured before they make their move. Sinister. Humans are too sinister. Impossible. When did humans appear in this large world? Why haven't we discovered them? The warriors of the glorious Sun race and the Radiant Moon race were dumbfounded. They thought that Xia Ping was just fooling around. They did not expect that what he said was true. There were enemies lying in ambush nearby and they had not discovered them yet. At the thought of this, a chill ran down their spines. If Xia Ping did not point this out when they were satisfied with taking care of the Starlight race, the humans would suddenly appear and give them a fatal blow. Then, the Radiant Moon race and the glorious Sun race would be completely finished. They would follow the footsteps of the Starlight race and die without a burial place. The Starlight race was also dumbfounded. They did not expect that there would be humans lying in ambush here. They had no idea when the humans discovered this large world. And a bunch of rats. Don't you want to come out? Xia Ping waved his hand, and a force that could topple mountains and overturn seas crushed down, bombarding the northwest direction. Boom! In an instant, the space twisted and endless ripples appeared in the void. Suddenly, a group of densely packed figures were exposed. They emitted a terrifying demonic aura and soared into the sky. Demons. The Starlight race, Radiant Moon race, and Glorious Sun race immediately recognized that these were demon monarchs of the demon race. There were tens of thousands of them. Their hair stood on end. They didn't expect that there would be over 10,000 demon kings lying in ambush nearby. Fuck this group of old cunning bastards. They had nothing better to do all day, and they only knew how to ambush others in the dark. They were simply shameless. Could they still be considered a peak race? He had no sense of magnanimity and only knew how to plot against others. He was shameless to the extreme. That's right. We used the supreme divine ability of the demon race, the limitless shadow void secret technique, to completely conceal our figures. We turned into shadows and escaped into the void without making a sound. I didn't expect you to be able to discover us even with that. As expected of an expert from the starlight race of the mystic zones. It seems that I won't be able to plot against you. The Demon King leader said. What a pity. I originally wanted to wait for the three races to fight to the death and both sides to suffer, and then reap the benefits. I didn't expect that I would fail. This is a miscalculation on my part. The one who spoke was an old acquaintance of Xiaoping, Su Chang of the Holy Land of Taichu. Xiaoping had met him once in the creation map of heavens. This time he personally led a group of over 10,000 human experts. Fuck, they really wanted to plot against us. These shameless bitches. The faces of the Starlight race, Radiant Moon race and Glorious Sun race were very ugly. This matter had happened a bit beyond their imagination. They had thought that their operation was foolproof. They didn't expect that they had already been exposed to the enemy. How on earth did you discover this large world? I remember that we didn't expose any information at all. Why are you here? Xing Yongming was very puzzled. The others were also very puzzled. They didn't believe that there was a traitor among them. Idiot. Do you think this is the mystic zones? This is the territory of the human race. There are traps everywhere. You acted with great fanfare and so many experts set out. Do you really think that your whereabouts are hidden? Hearing this, Su Chang immediately laughed. You don't know that our human race has long been watching your movements. Of course we wouldn't miss it. We sent people to follow you and as a result we discovered this news. Then we immediately sent reinforcements. He clearly told the three races that this was the power of the human race's intelligence network. In fact, this was something that everyone knew, so there was nothing to hide. That's right. This kind of thing can't be hidden from the demon race. The Demon King leader also nodded. They had also sent experts to investigate and follow these races from the mystic zones. They definitely wouldn't be careless. They didn't expect to find such an unexpected harvest. The discovery of a large world was earth-shattering wealth. It was enough to start a war. Moreover, they were just some pawns. After a while, the reinforcements of the various races would arrive one after another. By then, there would probably be more than 100 million soldiers. That would be the real war. Rivers of blood would flow. In fact, they didn't need to do much. They just needed to buy time. When the reinforcements arrived, these enemies would be annihilated in an instant. The hearts of the Starlight race, the Radiant Moon race, and the Glorious Sun race were heavy. They knew that they were really screwed this time. They had really underestimated the power of the human race and the demon race. They didn't expect that their every move was under the surveillance of someone. It was no wonder that they hadn't found anything in the mystic zones. They didn't expose themselves before because the benefits weren't great enough. However, it was different now. The appearance of a large world was enough to see through all pretenses. The people of the Radiant Moon race and the Glorious Sun race no longer had the mood to deal with the Starlight race. Instead, they were comrades in the same boat. If they didn't work together, they would probably be annihilated by the experts of the human race and the demon race. Surrender. Su Chang said, you have no chance of winning. Moreover, this large world belongs to the mystic zones. The races of the mystic zones shouldn't set foot here. This isn't your territory. He wanted to persuade the three races to surrender and subdue the enemy without a fight. Because he was very wary of the expert who had torn apart the restriction formation set up by 8 low-grade sacred tools with one strike. His instincts told him that if he offended this person, he wouldn't have a good ending. In order to avoid huge losses and buy time, he didn't mind continuing to negotiate with this group of people. Trying to buy time? Xiaoping immediately saw through Su Chang and the others' thoughts. He looked around with the golden crow of hell and found that there were no more enemies lying in ambush. He finally made up his mind. Since there were no more enemies lying in ambush, he would take care of this group of people and completely occupy this world. Otherwise, when the reinforcements of the demon race and the human race arrived, it would be troublesome. Chapter 2016. However, if he acted rashly, he might expose his identity. Xiaoping did not want his identity to be exposed. He rubbed his chin and decided to let someone else take on Wu Wudi's appearance to fight for the source of the world. If Dumbo acted personally, he believed it would not be a problem to deal with this group of people. Right, I'll just get Tan Menglu to pretend to be Wu Wudi. Let her take on Wu Wudi's appearance, and we'll work together to capture this group of people in one fell swoop. Thinking of this, Xiaoping's thoughts moved. Instantly, his divine sense entered the mountain river pearl space. His energy vibrated, quickly forming an energy clone that went to find Tan Menglu. Whoosh! In an instant, his energy clone descended into a valley in the mountain river pearl space. That was where Tan Menglu was. What's going on? Just as he neared the valley, Xiaoping saw a mountain of trash nearby. They were all piled up with waste, food scraps, or household garbage. It looked very majestic and was hundreds of meters tall. There were also two primordial species that were like housekeepers, working hard to move the trash and clean the place. They were as diligent as bees, going in and out diligently. He had seen these two primordial species before. They were the Fey and Crow demon bird that he had captured. He did not expect these two to be captured by Tan Menglu to be cleaners. He ignored them and immediately entered the valley. In the center of the valley, there were two large beds, and beside them were piles of food. Two little Lolas were dispiritedly lying on the beds. They were connected to the universe virtual network and were still shouting. "Tank, hurry up and go. Block the front and protect me. Support, immediately control the assassin. Hurry and control it. The assassin is coming to kill me. Healer, I'm out of health. Heal me. Why are you so slow? Do you know how to play? Move quickly and dodge the skill. Haha, I'm barely alive. Hit me. I'm standing here. Kill me if you dare. Fuck, it's really coming. Hurry and run. Sigh, trash. They're all trash. None of my teammates are useful. I'm the only one." Chong Xiaoqian and Tan Menglu were making a big fuss, looking very excited. In the end, they had successfully escaped and let out a deep breath. Seeing this scene, Xiaoping's mouth twitched. It was as if he saw two young girls addicted to online games, unable to extricate themselves. Thinking of this, he did not forget the purpose of his visit this time. He reached out and pinched their chubby cheeks, woke them up, and temporarily got them out of the virtual network. Who has the guts to disturb this king's gaming? Don't you know that this is a crime of deceiving the king? Chong Xiaoqian was startled awake. She widened her eyes in anger. Someone actually dares to disturb me while I'm gaming? Isn't he afraid that I'll send him to prison for a few thousand years? She widened her eyes and saw Xiaoping looking at her expressionlessly. Regent? Chong Xiaoqian was completely dumbfounded. She didn't think that Xiaoping would appear at this time, and a bad premonition welled up in her heart. It was as if she had seen a demon king. Chong Xiaoqian, what are you doing? Why did you leave the game? Don't you know that we're going to fight a boss? Hurry up and gather up. A wise master here too. Tan Menglu shouted. She was also making a fuss. At the same time, she also noticed Xiaoping and was instantly stunned. What do you mean I'm here too? I didn't come here. I didn't know that the two of you were so decadent. Instead of studying, you only know how to play games and lie in bed all day like corpses. Xiaoping was heartbroken. The two Lolas had actually become dead otakus. He stared at them and said, Chong Xiaoqian, where's your homework? Have you finished all of it? Homework? I'll never do homework in this life. As a king, how can I do something like homework? Chong Xiaoqian said confidently. What she hated the most was the old man assigning her homework. Furthermore, it was a huge pile of homework. Wasn't he interfering with her gaming? That's right. What do you mean by playing games all day? Do you know how difficult it is to play games? You're completely looking down on games and life. Hurry up and apologize to the game designer. Tan Menglu said angrily. Shut up. If you continue to talk, I'll cut off the internet for a week. Xiaoping glanced sideways and used his trump card. He naturally knew what was the most effective way to deal with these two internet addicts. Demon, are you a demon? You actually want to cut off our internet for a week? How can you say and do such a vicious thing? Hearing this, the originally arrogant Tan Menglu and Chong Xiaoqian immediately revealed an extremely terrified expression. It was as if Xiaoping had done something unforgivable. They could not take it even if the internet was cut off for a day. If it was really cut off for a week, they would probably go crazy. This kind of behavior could only be done by the legendary demons from hell. It was too despicable and shameless. They could not imagine a day without the internet. There was no meaning in living in this world at all. Chong Xiaoqian's cheeks puffed up in anger. As expected, she still had to overthrow this regent and become the master. Otherwise, she would never have a day of peace. He would control her all day and force her to do her homework. Master, I don't know why you're here, but why do you need my help? As long as you tell me, I will definitely do my best to help you. Tan Menglu immediately stepped forward with a face full of eagerness. She pinched Lin Fan's neck and legs. Oh, you can tell that I need you for something? Xia Ping had a comfortable expression. It was rare for Tan Menglu to be so obedient. I can't tell, but if Master needs any help, feel free to tell me. In order to prevent Xia Ping from cutting off her internet, Tan Menglu did her best to serve him, hoping to send this demon away as soon as possible. Otherwise, if she was cut off for a week, she would probably wish she was dead. It's like this. I need you to pretend to be someone. Xia Ping went straight to the point. After all, he could not waste too much time here. The battle outside could happen at any time. He had to settle this matter as soon as possible. I see. You want me to pretend to be Wu Wudi. This is too easy. Leave it all to me. Tan Menglu patted her chest confidently. Pretending to be someone was too easy. Moreover, she was proficient in the art of transformation. Although she could not achieve the shocking effect of the wishful wish mask, she could change her aura, body, and even soul. However, changing her body and appearance was still very easy. Dumbo, later on you will personally take action. Send all the enemies flying and snatch the world's origin. Xia Ping also came in front of Gaia and instructed her. Yes, brother. Chapter 2017. At this moment, the Starlight race, the Radiant Moon race, and the Glorious Sun race were cornered by the human race and the demon race. They were in a dilemma and did not know what to do. They wanted to give up this large world. They had spent so much time and effort, but they were very reluctant to do so. They did not want to give up, but the human race and the demon race were too powerful. Although they did not have many people, the other side did not need to fight them to the death. As long as they could buy time, a large number of reinforcements would arrive. At that time they would be like turtles in a jar with nowhere to hide. It could be said that if they did not run now, they would not be able to escape when the human race and the demon race's reinforcements arrived. They would not be able to control their own lives. Make your choice. I'll give you 1 minute to consider. Surrender or resist. Su Chang gave the final order, not giving them too much time to think. Boom. At that moment, with a thought from Xia Ping, he immediately released Dumbo and Tan Menglu. A spatial ripple appeared in the sky and they immediately appeared in front of everyone. Who is it? Su Chang and the others were shocked. They did not expect that there would be another force lying in ambush at this time, and that they would even dare to appear here. They all looked up and immediately saw a familiar figure. It was Wu Wudi, who had transformed from Tan Menglu. Wu Wudi. Su Chang could not help but cry out. He would recognize this guy even if he turned into ashes. He was a super demon from another universe. He did all kinds of evil and unscrupulous things. He even dared to kill people from the Holy Land of Taichu and the Palace of Darkness. How could he not be frightened when such a vicious demon appeared in this place? He had no idea why this demon was here. Could it be that he also wanted to compete with them for this large world? Wu Wudi? Is he a peerless demon that suddenly appeared in the human race recently? Many demon kings were surprised. They were all demon kings from the central universe, so they naturally did not know much about what happened in other universes. After all, they were too far away to feel anything. But they had vaguely heard of the name Wu Wudi. It was said that when the creation map of heavens opened, this human demon brought great trouble to many demon kings and the disciples of the human race's holy land. But they did not know much about the specifics. Oh, you actually know me? I didn't expect me to be so famous in the universe. Tan Menglu, who was disguised as Wu Wudi, put his hands on his hips and laughed out loud. That's right. I'm the evil Wu Wudi who likes to bully the old, the young, the sick, and the disabled. I'm filthy, despicable, shameless, thick-skinned. I can make a 3-year-old stop crying, I can accept any woman, and I like to cut off the internet. You guys are really unlucky today to have met such a heinous villain like me. You guys must have had 8 lifetimes of bad luck. It seems like your lifespan has come to an end today. Hearing this, Xia Ping's mouth twitched. Why did he feel that this guy was indirectly scolding the locust? Was he taking the opportunity to express his dissatisfaction in one go? Wu Wudi, what are you trying to do here? Su Chang's expression was ugly as he stared at Wu Wudi. And you're asking me what I want? Of course, I want to snatch the world's essence. Tan Menglu put his hands on his hips. This world's essence belongs to me. All of you scram. If you're late, I'll eat all of you. There won't even be a scrap left. Her body was filled with a fiendish aura that belonged to Tao Tai. This was the terrifying fiendish aura that came from the primordial 10 Furies. It instantly spread out for hundreds of millions of kilometers. At first, everyone thought that this kid was a joke because they had never seen this human before and did not know where he came from. But when they sensed this fiendish aura, all of their hairs stood on end and their bodies trembled. It was as if they had encountered the primordial 10 Furies and fallen into a wild world. Words could be faked, items could be faked, but this aura could not be faked. This guy in front of them was a true fiendish god, a peerless devil who had slaughtered countless living beings. Otherwise, it was impossible for him to have such an aura. Suddenly, everyone's expression turned serious. Wuwudi, you're also a human. This is a large world discovered by us humans. If you're willing to help us, you can have a share. Su Chang rolled his eyes, wanting to rope Wuwudi in. Scram. Tan Menglu said disdainfully, no one can snatch what I have my eyes on. My favorite thing to do is to eat everything for myself. Do you think you can share this world with me? Have you considered your own worth? Su Chang and the others had ugly expressions. They did not expect Wu Wudi to not give them face and still want to take this world for himself. His appetite was simply boundless. Foolish human, you probably don't know what kind of existence you've offended. You're just one person and yet you dare to be so arrogant. With so many of us demon kings here, we can tear you to pieces in an instant. Do you understand? Many demon kings did not like Wu Wudi. They felt that this human was too arrogant. In the face of so many enemies, he still dared to boast shamelessly and tell them to scram. Did he really think they were made of paper? Whoosh whoosh whoosh. As soon as he finished speaking, more than a dozen demon kings attacked. Their figures flickered and their speed was extremely fast. Like lightning, they carried a terrifying demonic aura as they attacked Tan Menglu. They wanted to tear this arrogant human to pieces in an instant. How dare this kid talk nonsense in front of them? Idiot, you good-for-nothings want to attack me? I don't even need to do anything to kill you. Dumbo attack. Tan Menglu was in high spirits. It felt good to bully others with power. Dumbo glanced at Tan Menglu. She felt that this person was going too far. However, this was her brother's order, so she did not say anything. Her figure flashed and her pink fist punched out. Dong. The dozen or so demon kings did not know what was going on. They did not even see how Dumbo attacked. They only knew that they had been punched in the face. Following that, their heads were twisted and deformed. Blood flowed out of their orifices. The powerful demon kings' bodies flew out like cannonballs, exceeding 100 times the speed of sound. Bang bang bang. In the next second, these demon kings were sent flying thousands of kilometers. Finally, they smashed into the mountains, creating shocking craters. Gravel flew everywhere. Even the internal organs of these demon kings were severely injured. They could not help but cough up blood. How is this possible? All the demon kings were stunned. They could not believe their eyes. The arrogant Wu Wudi did not make a move, but the little girl beside him did. However, the moment she made a move, more than a dozen demon kings were sent flying like chickens. They could not resist at all. Chapter 2018. Damn it, who the hell is this little girl? Why is she so powerful? Are all the people around Wu Wudi monsters? Even a random little girl is so freakish. No matter who she is, as long as she hasn't reached the Saint Realm, we have a chance to defeat her. That's right. Everyone, let's kill her together. Many of the monster kings gritted their teeth. More than a dozen monster kings were sent flying at the same time. This was indeed shocking, but it was impossible for them to back down. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. As soon as he finished speaking, thousands of monster kings also attacked one after another, displaying their bloodline magic. Suddenly, these magic condensed into a heaven-earth formation, covering a radius of tens of millions of kilometers. Like falling stars, they raised the world to the ground. This power was so strong that it seemed to be able to blast everything into powder. Attack. A cold light flashed in Su Chang's eyes, and he immediately ordered the disciples of the Holy Land of Taichu to attack. He knew how terrifying Wu Wudi was. That guy was a real monster and no one knew how many trump cards he had. It could be said that they had to kill Wu Wudi now or they would all be finished. In an instant, these disciples of the Holy Land of Taichu attacked one after another, taking out their magic treasures such as swords, spears, gourds, drums and so on. There were all kinds of magic treasures. But without exception they were all extremely powerful and horrifying. The magic treasures bombarded down like thousands of cannonballs at the same time, completely covering the area. Crazy, they're all crazy. The Starlight Clan, the Radiant Moon Clan, and the Glorious Sun Clan did not attack. They were simply stunned. The Monster Clan and the Human Clan had given up on attacking them and turned to attack the human who had suddenly appeared. In other words, in the eyes of the other party, the human was a greater threat than the three major clans. To be honest, they could not accept this fact. They had really underestimated the human. At this moment, little Dumbo attacked again. She was expressionless and only spat out two words, "Wind disaster." Whoosh, she gently breathed out and suddenly stirred up a storm in the sky. It was as if she had breathed out a spatial storm, blowing up the connate astral wind. The wind howled like a fierce beast. Woo 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 woo, with Dumbo's body as the center, a boundless congenital storm was set off. The north wind blew like the breath of a doomsday dragon from far to near, destroying everything in its path. The so-called rocks, soil, trees, and even mountains and rivers were all blown away. Nothing could resist this apocalyptic storm. The first to bear the brunt were the 10,000 demon kings. When their bloodline divine abilities neared the doomsday storm, they were instantly destroyed. It was as though just the wind pressure was enough to crush these divine abilities into powder. Not good. Retreat, retreat quickly. The expressions of all the monster kings changed drastically. They felt their hairs stand on end as if they had fallen into an icy cave. It was as if they had encountered a natural disaster. This wasn't a power that ordinary people could withstand. But how could they outrun this innate storm? In an instant they were blown away by the storm. They were like candles in the wind, unable to resist at all. Bang bang bang. In the blink of an eye, they were sent flying like stones and smashed into the ground in all directions, forcefully smashing out a huge pit and sending gravel flying in all directions. Fire. Dumbo glanced at the disciples of the Holy Land of Taichu, squinted at them and spat out another word. Bang bang bang. In an instant, supervolcanoes immediately emerged within a radius of 1,000 miles, rising from the ground and spewing terrible flames. This was like the doomsday dragon flame, burning everything, dyeing the sky black and thick smoke everywhere. Su Chang and the others did not expect such a thing to happen. Suddenly they were surrounded by flames that rose into the sky. Their whole bodies were roasted, and their magic treasures melted under the terrible flames. The terrifying flames even penetrated their pores, causing the magic power and souls in their bodies to start burning. Damn it, the power of disaster of this flame can burn magic power and souls. We can't resist it. Retreat quickly. Su Chang's expression changed drastically. He immediately recognized that this was not an ordinary flame, but the fire of disaster, containing a terrible power of disaster. He kept retreating, shouting loudly. But he didn't need to remind them. The disciples of the Holy Land of Taichu were all smart people. Seeing that the situation was not good, they simply ran faster than anyone else and quickly retreated. But even so, they were still very embarrassed. Their hair was completely burned and they were all bald. Some unlucky ones had their magic treasures burned, suffering heavy losses. Impossible, this is the magical power of the 3 disasters and 9 disasters. It is the unique bloodline magical power of the strongest race, Gaia. How can you know? Are you Gaia? Su Chang was suddenly shocked. He looked at little dummy in horror and immediately realized who she was. The 3 disasters and 9 disasters. This was the unique disaster magical power of the Gaia race. It could control all the power of disasters in the world and be indestructible. Often, when they were angry, disasters would occur frequently in the world, turning it into doomsday. It was as if the heavenly Tao was angry, overturning the world and destroying everything. What? This is Gaia? Many monster kings looked at little dummy in horror. No wonder this little girl was so powerful. She could defeat tens of thousands of monster kings with a wave of her hand and control the power of the 3 disasters and 9 disasters. It turned out to be the legendary strongest race, Gaia. Rumor had it that Gaia was born to be a saint. When they grew up, they would become a saint. They had infinite potential and were one of the top races in the universe. All races were afraid of the Gaia race. However, there were too few Gaia. They were so rare that even a Thunder Tribulation realm mighty figure might not have seen one even once after living for tens of thousands of years. This was a legendary race. Some people said that this might be a terrifying race that walked out of the dark forbidden zone. However, there was too little information about Gaia. All the mighty figures who knew about this race were afraid of it, as if there was a taboo. But at this moment they actually saw the real Gaia in this place. Furthermore, it was a Gaia that had not yet grown up. This was really unbelievable. Wu Wudi, how did you find this Gaia? Su Chang's expression changed as he stared at Wu Wudi. This was because Gaia was beside Wu Wudi and seemed to be Wu Wudi's subordinate. This fact was even more shocking. This Wu Wudi was already very difficult to deal with. Now he even had Gaia as his subordinate. Fuck, wouldn't this be too much? When he grew up, wouldn't he be no match for even a saint? He would be lawless. At this moment he finally felt the threat of Wu Wudi. It was as if there was a dagger at his back. Haha, foolish commoners. You good-for-nothings don't even need me to do anything. Just Gaia alone is enough to destroy all of you. Gaia, go and eat all of these good-for-nothings. Tan Menglu was pleased with herself. She placed her hands on her hips and used Wu Wudi's might. Chapter 2019. Chance. Xiaoping's eyes lit up when he saw that everyone was intimidated and didn't dare to move. He charged forward alone. Haha, so it's the famous Gaia. I've been looking for an opponent like you for too long. I'd like to see what the legendary Gaia is capable of. Let's have a battle. Whoosh. He strode forward and arrived in front of Dumbo in an instant under everyone's gaze. At the same time he used his divine sense to ask Dumbo to send him flying. That way he could leave everyone's sight without anyone noticing. Dong. Hearing that, Dumbo immediately attacked and punched Xiaoping lightly. In the next second, Xiaoping's body was sent flying thousands of kilometers away without any resistance. He disappeared from everyone's sight like a meteor, passing through hundreds of mountains and vanishing. This? Su Chang and the others' mouths twitched. They couldn't understand what the Starlight race was thinking. Didn't he see that so many demon kings were no match for Gaia? Now he still dared to charge forward alone. The result was obvious. He was instantly sent flying and no one knew if he was dead or alive. Is this Starlight race warrior an idiot? Can't he tell the difference in strength between them? He must have been in the mystic zone for too long. His brain must have gone numb. That's quite impressive. He even said that he had been looking for an opponent for too long. I didn't expect him to be sent flying with a single punch. There are too many idiots who can't see their own strength. He thinks he can fight Gaia. What a joke. Many demon kings looked down on Xiaoping who was sent flying. They felt that this guy was purely out to be a joke. He really didn't know his own strength to think he could fight Gaia. Oh no, Brother Invincible was sent flying by Gaia. Sigh, Brother Invincible's strength is indeed not bad. I can see that, but compared to the universe's strongest race, Gaia, there's still a certain gap. Indeed, but Brother Invincible should be fine. With his strength, even if he was sent flying, he shouldn't be beaten to death. We don't have to worry too much. Many warriors of the Starlight race didn't expect this to happen. That incomparably ferocious and invincible being was sent flying by a single punch from Gaia. But on second thought, the other party was the famous Gaia race, so it was understandable. The warriors of the Radiant Moon race and the Glorious Sun race were rejoicing in his misfortune. Who asked this brat to show off? He wanted to fight, but now he was sent flying by Gaia in an instant, losing all face. Gaia had really helped them vent their anger. Demon King, let's join forces. You've seen the current situation. At this moment, Su Chang sent a voice transmission to the Demon King leaders. If this continues, we will definitely be defeated one by one. When that happens, Gaia will snatch away the world's natural source. We won't be able to obtain any benefits, and we won't be able to last until reinforcements arrive. Only by joining forces will we have a chance of survival. In order to obtain this large world and stall for time, he decided to join forces with these demon kings. Even though the human clan and the demon clan were hostile races, when faced with a stronger enemy, they would put aside their prejudices and join forces to fight. No problem. The demon king leader thought about it and agreed. He was not a fool and naturally knew that Gaia had the upper hand. If they still fought amongst themselves, it would definitely benefit Wu Wudi and Gaia. It would not be too late to fight for this large world after chasing Gaia and Wu Wudi out or stalling for time. Let's do it. We'll attack from both sides. I don't believe that Gaia is really invincible. Su Chang's eyes lit up. A powerful aura emanated from his body, causing the void to tremble. He grabbed with his hand and immediately took out a magic treasure. It was a medial-grade sacred artifact, the 9-Dragon Treasure Mirror. This mirror was bronze in color, as if it was cast from bronze. 9 dragon heads were engraved on it. They were vivid and lifelike, as if they were real dragons that had come to life. In fact, this was a medial-grade sacred artifact that a human sage had killed 9 real dragons and poured their dragon blood and dragon souls on the mirror. Finally, it was smelted into a medial-grade sacred artifact. This medial-grade sacred artifact was also found by Su Chang in the ruins of an ancient great power. Once it was used, it was like the 9 real dragons had come to life and its power was infinite. However, the power of a medial-grade sacred artifact was too great. It was very difficult for him to use a medial-grade sacred artifact alone. He estimated that he would be sucked dry in a few breaths. However, there were many disciples from the Holy Land of Taichu around him who could use it together to reduce the pressure. In an instant, many human masters around him poured their magic power into this medial-grade sacred artifact. The magic power surged like the sea. Rumble, immediately the bronze mirror vibrated and buzzed. The 9 dragon heads on the mirror seemed to come to life. They opened their eyes and emitted a terrifying dragon's might that covered a radius of hundreds of millions of kilometers. Kill! Su Chang shouted angrily. He operated the magic power in his body and controlled this medial-grade sacred artifact to attack Dumbo. Whoosh! 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 The 9 bronze dragons flew out from the depths of the mirror world and let out earth-shattering roars. Even the void seemed to be distorted, and waves of spatial ripples appeared in the space. Deafening dragon roars came from hundreds of millions of kilometers away, tearing the earth and turning the world upside down. Do it! A cold light flashed in the eyes of the Monster King leader. He shouted and immediately took out a magic weapon from his body. It was also a medial-grade sacred artifact, the Yin Wind 8 Trigrams banner. This Yin Wind 8 Trigrams banner was black and seemed to contain densely packed ghosts. It was unfathomably deep like an abyss, exuding a terrible demon chi. This was a terrible magic weapon refined by the saint of the monster clan from a secret realm in the Mystic Zone. He collected the evil earth wind and smelted rare materials such as the 8 trigrams, the 5 elements, and yin and yang. Once this Yin Wind 8 trigrams banner was waved, it could immediately summon the evil earth wind, which could corrode souls and bones. Even magic weapons could not withstand this wind and would be corroded into a pile of residue in an instant. It could be said that this magic weapon was extremely vicious. It could be regarded as a magic weapon of the demonic path, which killed people like flies. Many monster kings also made their moves. They were scattered in different places and poured their own demon power into the Yin Wind 8 trigrams banner, completely activating the internal formation of this medial-grade sacred artifact. Whoosh! The Yin Wind 8 trigrams banner swayed gently. Suddenly, there was a burst of demonic wind and a whistling sound came from hundreds of millions of kilometers away. It seemed to communicate with the dimension of wind and absorb the evil earth chi. Dense black holes appeared in the void in all directions, and masses of airflow gushed out from these dimensional spaces, gathering together and impressively forming a storm. Chapter 2020. Is this the power of the top clans? They can easily use 2 mid-grade sacred weapons. The warriors of the Starlight race, the Glorious Sun race, and the Radiant Moon race all had goosebumps and were terrified. If the 2 mid-grade sacred weapons had been used against them, they would not have been able to resist for long. They reckoned that they would not be able to hold out for long before they were quickly annihilated by the 2 races. It was no wonder that the 2 races had been so arrogant and looked down on them. Facing such power, they could only watch from the sidelines and could not participate. 3 disasters and 9 disasters. Dumbo was still expressionless. He said a few words and waved his little hand. Boom. Suddenly the world turned dark as if the end of the world had come. The sky split open and thousands of void cracks appeared. Countless dark clouds surged out from the depths of the cracks and shrouded the world. Wind disaster. Flood disaster. Fire disaster. In an instant, the 3 disasters broke out at the same time, containing earth-shattering power that could destroy the world. The storm roared. In the air, the wind howled and turned into thousands of tornadoes, spinning wildly. They contained the terrible power of disaster and swept everything. Anything that stood in the way of the storm would be destroyed. Each of the tornadoes produced wind blades that were indestructible and incomparably sharp. Even a defensive artifact of the level of a peerless spirit weapon would be sliced into pieces in an instant. If anyone dared to stand in the way of the storm, they would be torn into pieces in an instant, leaving nothing behind. This was the power of the astral wind, like the sharp blades of sword chi from countless peerless swordsmen. The rain poured down. Countless raindrops fell from the sky, but this was not ordinary water. It was first yuan heavy water. Every drop of water was a special water in the world, containing a terrible gravity. When a drop of water fell on the ground, it was like a meteorite crashing down with terrible power. If a person was in the first yuan heavy water, they would not be able to float at all. When the rain reached a certain level, it would completely drown the world. No living creature could survive. Volcanoes erupted. One after another, volcanoes rose from the ground. They seemed to be communicating with the mantle of the world, absorbing the endless magma from the depths of the earth. Huge flames erupted from the volcanoes. These were not ordinary flames. They were the earth core fire, a terrible flame that came from the depths of the world's core and could melt everything quickly. At the same time, they were also the fire of disaster, containing a huge power of disaster. Bang bang bang. Tens of thousands of volcanoes erupted, and a large amount of lava gushed out, turning into rivers of lava that raised everything within a radius of 10 million kilometers to the ground. The power of the 3 calamities and 9 tribulations was completely unleashed. It was as if the end of the world had arrived. This power clashed with the 9 dragon-treasured mirror and the Yin Wind 8 trigrams banner. Rumble, in midair there was a series of earth-shattering explosions. The void was torn apart as if a planet had exploded. Countless balls of Yuan Qi were torn apart, the ground collapsed and the world was turned upside down. Bang! The 9 bronze dragons were unable to withstand this shock wave and were all sent flying. Su Chang and the others also felt a powerful gale that felt like their bodies were about to be torn apart, and they could not help but retreat. It was the same for the demon monarchs. The earthly baleful Yin winds and the Khanate storm cancelled each other out, like 2 teams of elite soldiers fighting each other and dying together. The storm that erupted in the surroundings also sent the group of demon kings flying. The demon monarch leader almost lost his grip on the Yin Wind 8 trigrams banner in his hand. It was the same for little Dumbo. She was evenly matched with the 2 major forces, but her physique was extremely strong. These collisions alone could not hurt her at all. Oh my god, Gaia is really too strong. She can actually withstand the joint attack of the human race and the demon race. What a monster. She is only a minor. Oh my god, how terrifying will she be when she is an adult? Didn't I tell you earlier? She will be a sage when she is an adult. Fuck, we can't compare. We can't compare at all. She will be a sage when she is an adult. Why is the gap between us so big? The warriors of the Starlight race, the Radiant Moon race, and the Glorious Sun race were completely shocked when they saw this scene. They finally knew what it meant to be the strongest person below the sage. There was no doubt that Gaia deserved this title. She did not have any treasures on her, but she could withstand the sacred weapons alone. She was simply a monster. Damn it, is Gaia really that powerful? So many of us have joined forces and used 2 Yin Wind 8 trigrams, and yet we still can't crush her. We are still evenly matched? Some people could not believe it. After all, it is one of the strongest races in the universe. Gaia may not appear even once in a billion years. They are natural-born sages. Fortunately, she is still a minor. If she is an adult, none of us will be able to escape. We will die with just a breath, Su Chang said in a deep voice. He was also prepared for such a thing. No matter how powerful she is just one person. We have many demons and strong magical powers. If we fight, she will definitely not be able to wear us down. When her magical powers are used up, it will be the time of her death. The eyes of the Demon King leader flickered, revealing a glimmer of light. It had already calculated everything. Now that it was not defeated, it was actually considered a victory for them. As long as they could stop Gaia from obtaining the world's origin in a short period of time, their mission would be considered completed. Because in another day their reinforcements would arrive quickly, and even the sages might accompany them. At that time, if Gaia did not run away, she would definitely be captured and there would be no escape. Whoosh! At this moment, Xia Ping, who had been sent flying by little Dumbo, quietly returned. He used the formless mask to hide his aura, so no one could discover his whereabouts. It's time. A glimmer of light appeared in Xia Ping's eyes. He had not made a move even when he saw little Dumbo being besieged by 2 forces, because he believed in little Dumbo's strength. Even if he could not win, he would not die. And now he had finally waited for the opportunity to make a move. The eyes of the humans, demons, Starlight race, Radiant Moon race, Glorious Sun race, and other races were all focused on little Dumbo and Tan Menglu. Who would have thought that there was an even more terrifying enemy lying in ambush here? At this time, the vigilance of the demons and humans had dropped to the lowest level. If they launched a sneak attack now, they believed that this group of people would not have any defense. True solution of illusion, one thought, one world. Rumble, in an instant, a powerful wave of divine sense immediately gushed out from Xia Ping's body, covering a radius of more than 100 million kilometers in an instant. It was silent, and it nourished everything silently. The power of this divine sense was at least 10 times stronger than when he first entered the Holy Land of Taichu. Because he had advanced to the Thunder Tribulation realm and broken through the martial arts realm, his magical power and divine sense had both improved by leaps and bounds. It was not something that he could compare with before. Chapter 2021. Walala with a thought, Xia Ping circulated the true insight of illusions. In the depths of the void, a huge amount of mental energy trembled and rapidly condensed into millions of illusion runes. They seemed to be formed by mental energy, invisible and formless. After advancing to the Lightning Tribulation realm, he had gained a deeper understanding of the spatial quintessence of illusory arts, allowing him to form an illusory seed. It could seep into an enemy's sea of consciousness and silently pull them into an illusory realm. This was also like a parasite, deeply rooted and undetectable by others. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. In an instant, these illusion runes descended from the void. They silently merged into the bodies of Su Chang and the others, including those from the Starlight Race, Radiant Moon Race and Glorious Sun Race. Boom! At this moment, Su Chang and the others were stunned. They stood on the ground in a daze, unable to move. Immediately they fell into an illusion. Their souls were pulled into a world of illusion. It was as if the whole world had come to a standstill. Why are they all standing there in a daze? Seeing Xia Ping jump out, Tan Menglu stopped pretending. She soon discovered that everyone present was dumbfounded. They had turned into fools and were standing there motionlessly. She knew that Xia Ping must have done something. Otherwise he wouldn't have discovered such an unimaginable thing. They have fallen into my illusion. They probably won't wake up for a long time. Xia Ping smiled faintly. At this moment, Su Chang and the others were still in the illusion. They thought that they were in a bitter battle with Gaia. Both sides were evenly matched and the battle was very intense. However, they didn't panic. In fact, they might even be a little happy, hoping to continue fighting until reinforcements arrived. Little did they know that they were all in the illusion. The so-called stalling for time was just a beautiful dream. Really? Won't they wake up? Tan Menglu walked forward curiously. She came before this group of people and poked them with a wooden stick. She even made faces in front of them. However, this group of people remained indifferent. Immediately she became even more interested. She wanted to punch this group of people to see if they could wake up. Don't move. What if they really wake up? There's nothing for you here. Go back. Before Tan Menglu could make a move, Xia Ping lifted Tan Menglu up and made her struggle in the air as if he was carrying a small animal. He said in a bad mood. Although he was very confident in his illusions, with such a punch, even a pig would wake up from the illusion. This was simply troublesome. He waved his hand and immediately threw the troublesome Tan Menglu back into the space of the Pearl of Mountains and Rivers. Little Dumbo, let's snatch away the source of this world and then we'll leave. Xia Ping looked at Little Dumbo and told her to seize the world's origin immediately. Although they were temporarily under his control, in order to prevent other enemies from arriving, it was better to seize the world's origin as soon as possible. Once he obtained the world's origin, he would be able to advance and retreat as he pleased. Yes, brother. Dumbo nodded. Without hesitation, she took action immediately and flew toward the world's origin. At this time, no one could stop her. Even if some powerful elemental monsters appeared, it was useless. They were blown away by her punch and turned into ashes. Not long after, she arrived in front of the world's source energy. This was a massive fireball that gave off scorching heat. It was like a sun, containing boundless kinetic energy. Boom. She waved her hand gently and suddenly, a huge void crack appeared in front of her. This crack was connected to the space inside Gaia's body and produced a terrifying devouring power. Suddenly the sun-like world's origin moved. It could not resist such a devouring power and moved toward the void crack bit by bit. The surrounding void trembled. After a few minutes, the world's origin was completely devoured by Little Dumbo. When the world's origin disappeared, the entire large world suddenly underwent earth-shattering changes. The sky, the earth, and the sea were all completely cracked. Thousands of void cracks appeared. It was extremely terrifying and stretched for hundreds of billions of kilometers. It was as if the large world was about to collapse. In fact, without the world's origin, the large world would become complete ruins. It would completely collapse after a long time. At the end of the world, everything would decay. Fortunately, this was just a newborn world. If it was a mature world, who knew how many people would die? Brother, I did it. After devouring the world's origin, Little Dumbo returned. She had a rare expression of excitement on her face. It was as if she could not wait to go back and completely refine the world's origin. Go back. Xia Ping waved his hand and sent Little Dumbo back to the space of the Pearl of Mountain River for her to slowly refine. After Little Dumbo and Tan Menglu left, only he, Su Chang, and the others were left in this collapsing world. Let's collect some interest first. Xia Ping touched his chin and immediately took away all the space treasures from Su Chang and the others. They were unconscious, so they did not resist at all. Mine. They're all mine. The saint items are also mine. Xia Ping was very excited. He took out Su Chang's mid-tier saint item, the 9-dragon treasure mirror, and the 8 trigrams banner from the demons. It seemed that Su Chang also had a saint item, the boat of the void. It could hide one's aura and was also a good treasure. He took them all. Of course, these saint items were also things that had been refined. They were naturally unwilling to be taken away just like that. But under the hell golden crow fire, these saint items could not resist even if they wanted to. After a few breaths, their spiritual connection with their respective owners was severed. But this way, because the spiritual connection was severed, the minds of Su Chang and the others, as well as some of the Yao Kings, were severely injured. The terrifying attack woke them up from the illusion. With a puff, Su Chang and the others could not help but spit out a mouthful of blood. They looked around in confusion, not knowing what had happened. Go back to sleep. Before anything happened to Su Chang and the others, Xia Ping attacked again. He used a hand knife and knocked them out one by one. Done. Half an hour later, Xia Ping had already looted all the treasures on Su Chang and the others, leaving them clean. He reckoned that there was no one else who was poorer than them. After doing all this, he was satisfied. He knew that he had really struck it rich this time. Not only had he obtained the world's origin, but he had also obtained 2 or 3 mid-tier saint items, as well as many other Dharma treasures, medicinal pills and spirit medicines. He had become rich overnight. When these people woke up, they would probably cry. Whoosh. After looting all the treasures, Xia Ping did not hesitate. He immediately steered the stars and quickly left this large world. Chapter 2022. What's going on? Weren't we fighting Wu Wudi and Gaia just now? Where did they go? Someone woke up and immediately realized that the situation was different. Before this, they were clearly still engaged in an intense battle with Wu Wudi and Gaia. It had been going on for 3 days and 3 nights, and reinforcements were about to arrive. But just as they were about to win, the entire world shattered like glass, and the world turned upside down. Then they appeared in another unfamiliar place. They were all a little confused and did not know what had happened. This was because the illusion was too realistic and they did not have any doubts at all. That's not right. Hasn't it been 3 days and 3 nights? Why has the communication device only shown that a few hours have passed? Someone suddenly shouted, realizing that his communication device showed that only a few hours had passed. But they had clearly fought Wu Wudi for 3 days and 3 nights, and it was extremely intense. How could only a few hours have passed? He could not believe such a fact. Hearing this, everyone took out their communication devices and saw the time on them. Their expressions changed drastically, as if they had fallen into an ice cave. They found it hard to believe. Illusion, we were all in Wu Wudi's illusion. Su Chang's expression was very ugly. That illusion was too realistic. None of us could find any flaws in it. We even mistakenly thought that we were fighting Wu Wudi. Damn it, we were all fooled. He could not help but clench his fists. He had never experienced something like this before. They had fought hard for 3 days and 3 nights, but it was just an illusion. It was too vexing. Didn't that mean they had been fooled? After fighting for so long, they were only fighting against the air. What kind of illusion was this? How could it be so terrifying? As long as Wu Wudi was willing, he could easily slaughter all of them without leaving a single person alive. Suddenly, an uncontrollable chill surged in their hearts. Wait, where did my Dharma treasure, my medial-grade sacred artifact Wind 8 trigrams banner, go? Why did it disappear? Even my mental connection with it has been severed? At this moment, the demon clan leader's expression changed drastically. He could not help but scream. He discovered that the medial-grade sacred artifact Wind 8 trigrams banner, that he had painstakingly obtained, had disappeared. No matter how he searched, he could not find a trace of it. Moreover, it also discovered that its mental connection with the Wind 8 trigrams banner had been completely severed. This was like a bolt from the blue. It meant that it had completely lost this mid-grade saint artifact. My 9 dragon treasured mirror and the void boat are gone too. They've all disappeared. My mother, my space ring and all my pills and medicines are gone. Which bastard stole my treasures? Su Chang roared at the sky. He had also discovered that his mid-quality saint artifact was gone. His body was completely bare without even a strand of hair. Right now he was practically a pauper. Heavens! The magic treasures on me are gone as well. Not a single one is left. What happened to my medicinal pills? Where did my bottles of heavenly mending pills go? I spent a lot of time and resources to exchange for them, but now they're all gone. Wu Wudi, it must be that bitch Wu Wudi. Other than him, no one would do such a wicked thing. That damned Wu Wudi actually stole all our treasures. He's not human at all. He's a beast. It's over. It's all over. My savings of thousands of years are all gone. Even if I went gambling and went bankrupt, I wouldn't be this miserable. Everyone wailed. They discovered that all their treasures had been taken away. Not even a strand of hair was left. That bastard Wu Wuti was extremely greedy. It didn't matter if they were treasures or not, he would take them all. He was basically scraping the ground and plucking the feathers from the geese. Of course, the most miserable ones were Su Chang and the leader of the fiend race. They had lost a few mid-quality saint artifacts. Even the combined treasures of everyone else couldn't compare to their losses. One could imagine how Su Chang and the others were feeling right now. They even wanted to kill. They wanted nothing more than to tear that bitch Wu Wuti to pieces and make him spit out all his treasures. Wait, the source energy of this large world has disappeared as well. The entire world is about to collapse. Someone suddenly discovered that the world was on the verge of destruction. There were spatial cracks everywhere as if the world was about to fall apart. There was a destructive aura everywhere. Bastard, I knew it was that guy who did it. He actually stole the entire world's source energy. How could he do such a thing? He's too wicked. We've suffered a double loss. Not only did we not obtain this large world, but we also lost so many treasures. Wu Wuti and I are irreconcilable. I'll never forgive him for the rest of my life. What do we do now? This large world is about to collapse. The power of its explosion is not to be underestimated. Let's run. If we don't, we'll all die in this large world. Everyone's expressions were very solemn. They could sense that this world was on the verge of destruction. It was estimated that in a few hours the entire large world would completely collapse, exploding like a star. If they did not escape by then, they would all die. Thinking of this, they did not dare to hesitate. They did not care about cursing Wu Wuti. They just wanted to escape this dangerous place as soon as possible, lest they die in this natural disaster. Swoosh, swoosh. The experts of the human race and monster race quickly left, boarding their own ships and leaving this world. Starlight Race, Glorious Sun Race and Radiant Moon Race saw this situation and did not have the mood to fight among themselves. After all, the world was about to collapse. Destruction, explosion. Such power was no joke. If they did not leave as soon as possible, they would all die. Where is Xing Wuti? Where did he go? Why haven't I seen any traces of him? Starlight Race's Xing Yongming did not find any traces of Xing Wuti. He looked everywhere but could not find any traces of him. He's already gone. Xing Rongmu said. He left a note beside me saying that after this battle, he realized how weak he was and decided to continue wandering, looking for a chance to defeat Gaia. So he directly boarded a ship and left. No way. This kind of strength is considered weak. Brother Wuti is too humble. This is an expert. He never stops and pursues even greater strength. That's why he's so strong. Since it's Brother Wuti's decision, we won't say much. Let's hurry up and leave. That's right. This time I've learned something new. Although we suffered heavy losses and lost many treasures, I did not expect there to be such a terrifying enemy in the universe. Chapter 2023. A few hours later, the newly born large world completely collapsed. Su Chang and the others looked bitter. They had really suffered a great loss this time. Not only did they not get any benefits, but they also lost so many treasures, all of which benefited Wu Wuti. They even had to apologize to the reinforcements, saying that they were useless and had allowed the enemy to take away the origin of the world. After this incident, their hatred for Wu Wuti reached new heights. All of them swore to take revenge and find the whereabouts of that despicable Wu Wuti. The news quickly spread throughout the Central Universe and was known by countless people. First, it caused an uproar in the Holy Land of Taichu and Palace of Darkness. Many of them had encountered Wu Wuti in the Heavenly Fortune map and suffered great losses, so the bastard was still fresh in their memories. Fuck, Wu Wuti actually came to the Central Cosmos to cause trouble, and he's so arrogant too. He even stole the origin of a large world. Doesn't he know that destroying a world in the Central Cosmos is a serious crime? Someone cursed. They didn't expect Wu Wuti to dare come to the Central Universe. His guts were boundless. He didn't just steal the source energy of the world. Even Su Chang's mid-grade saint artifact, the 9-dragon treasured mirror, and the void boat were stolen by this kid. He even stole the Demon Clan's Wind 8 trigrams banner. Someone knew some inside information. That's not all. This time that kid didn't just offend Su Chang and the others. Even the Starlight Race, the Glorious Sun Race and the Radiant Moon Race from the Mystic Zones were all killed by him. Even the Demon Sealing Tombstone was stolen by him. Someone sighed. Motherfucker, it's one thing for this brat to burn, kill and pillage in other universes, but he actually dares to cause trouble in the Central Universe? Doesn't this bastard know that this place is filled with crouching tigers and hidden dragons? Many disciples from the Holy Land of Taichu and Palace of Darkness gnashed their teeth. If he was in other universes it would be fine. They couldn't do anything about it anyway. But it was different now. He had come to the Central Universe so brazenly. This was practically an invasion. How could they tolerate this? Of course he can be arrogant. It said that a Gaia appeared by his side and became his loyal fighter. I'm afraid his arrogance is boundless. How is this possible? Gaia? Could it be the legendary Gaia who would become a saint upon adulthood? This is a peak-level race that is elusive and elusive. How could that kid encounter one? That's right. Even if he encountered it with the Gaia clan strength, how can that punk tame it? It's true. Su Chang and the others saw it with their own eyes. The other party used the 3 calamities and 9 disasters and reached the pinnacle of the lightning tribulation realm. It seems like he's just a step away from becoming a sage. With Gaia's talent he will definitely become a saint. Heavens, if that's the case, doesn't that mean that Wu Wudi has a saint-level fighter by his side? Who can do anything to him? Isn't that right? If this matter comes true, this brat will definitely be out of control. No wonder the major worlds can be destroyed just like that. They don't care about this crime at all. Bullshit. He has offended so many people. So what if he has Guya's support? Just wait and see. Sooner or later he will be out of luck. There are already saints who want to personally capture Wu Wudi. It can't be. This matter actually caused a saint to take action? It's all Gaia's fault. Many saints want to capture Gaia, who is still a minor. I see. It seems that Wu Wudi is out of luck. If he wants to do as he pleases in the Central Universe, he should first consider how qualified he is. He really overestimates himself. Everyone discussed animatedly. They all felt that the arrogant Wu Wudi would probably be captured soon. This time, even a saint had been alerted. That kid was done for. At that moment, in a certain sacred land among the demons, many demon saints had gathered together. The atmosphere was solemn. Damn it, this mid-grade saint artifact, the Yin Wind 8 trigrams banner, was actually lost. Don't you know that this saint artifact is very useful to us demons? Now that it's gone, what punishment do you have? A demon saint cursed loudly, blaming the demon kings for their incompetence. Not only had they not obtained the major worlds and delayed the arrival of reinforcements, but they had even lost the mid-grade saint artifact, the Yin Wind 8 trigrams banner. They had completely embarrassed the demons. The demon saint's face was extremely dark. The group of demon kings all lowered their heads, their faces red. They did not even dare to breathe loudly, afraid that they would anger the demon saint and be smashed to dust with a single palm strike. If that happened, no one would be able to save them and there would be no one to reason with. Forget it, we can't blame them. At that moment, a demon saint waved his hand, his eyes shining. The other party is a monster of the human race with unparalleled combat strength. He even has Gaia with him. This combat strength is extraordinary. It's not something that ordinary people can handle. He felt that there was a reason for the Demon King's failure. After all, Gaia and Wu Wudi's power was not to be underestimated. They could easily defeat experts of the same level. Damn it, why are there so many monsters in the human race? If they continue to grow, the human will definitely become a saint, and with Gaia by his side, it's not as simple as 1 + 1. The human race's strength will definitely multiply. A demon saint said fearfully, clenching his fists. Although Gaia was still underage and had not reached the saint realm, everyone knew that Gaia would definitely become a saint. No one doubted that he would definitely become a terrifying force in the future. Moreover, this force was in the hands of the human race, which made the demon saints feel even more uneasy. That might not be the case. I heard that Wu Wudi is a wanted criminal of the human race. He might not increase the strength of the human race. A demon saint said. Bullshit. Even if he is a wanted criminal, a human is a human. At the critical moment he will choose the human race and not the demon race. If we don't deal with such a monster of the demon race, he will definitely become a disaster in the future. That's right. A strategic force like Gaia should not fall into the hands of the human race. Otherwise, we will definitely face an unimaginable combat strength in the future. The demon race will suffer heavy losses. We must find that Wu Wudi and snatch that underage Gaia. Otherwise, when Gaia advances to the saint realm, it will not be so easy to deal with him. That's right. Then that middle-grade saint artifact, the Yin Wind 8 trigrams banner, cannot fall into the hands of the human race. Immediately activate the demon race's forces and conduct a carpet search. Find Wu Wudi's whereabouts. The demon saints immediately made a decision to find Wu Wudi and snatch all the saint artifacts from him. Gaia should also be a force that belonged to the demon race. Chapter 2024. Central Universe Ordinary Area. The multitude star was cruising quietly in a boundless universe. The surrounding space storms were blasting everywhere, but the multitude star was safe and sound, like a boulder in the turbulence. At the same time, it also turned on the concealment system and merged with the surrounding void silently. Even if other Saint-class spaceships passed by, they would not be able to find it. At this moment, Xia Ping came to the space of the Pearl of Mountains and Rivers. He was observing Dumbo's refining of the world's origin. He was very interested in the process of Dumbo's advancement to the Saint Realm. If he could see the process, it would definitely be of great benefit to his advancement to the Saint Realm. Beep. At this time the system's voice sounded. Congratulations, host. You have attracted a lot of hatred from the demon race, human race, radiant moon race and other races. This time you have obtained 20 hatred crystals. Xia Ping's heart skipped a beat. With these 20 hatred crystals, he now had a total of 600 hatred crystals. He was not far from 1,000 hatred crystals. However, this was just a small matter. The most important thing was Dumbo's current evolution. After devouring a large amount of world's origin, Dumbo was refining it crazily. Waves of energy from the world's origin fused into Gaia's limbs and bones, spreading to every corner. Her aura was increasing at a speed visible to the naked eye. One had to know that this was the origin of a large world. The energy contained was simply unimaginable. Even tens of thousands of Thunder Retribution Realm powerhouses would probably explode after devouring this energy. Only a special cosmic life form like Gaia could safely devour the origin of a large world and make up for the lack of origin in her body. Because Xia Ping and Dumbo had signed a contract, they shared life and death and their souls were fused. Therefore, he could easily sense Dumbo's current situation. Her body and soul had undergone earth-shattering changes. The huge energy of the world's origin surged into Dumbo's body like seawater, quickly filling up the origin energy that she originally lacked and reaching the realm of perfection. It could be said that devouring the world's origin allowed her to increase her magical power by billions of years. It was equivalent to walking on a journey of countless years in advance. She grew faster than other Gaia. The space in her body was also rapidly expanding. In just an hour it had expanded 10 times. Boom! After an unknown period of time when the world's origin was completely devoured by Dumbo, her essence, chi and spirit almost reached the peak. Her spirit entered the river of destiny. Xia Ping's heart skipped a beat. He realized that his primordial spirit had followed Dumbo's primordial spirit and entered the river of destiny together. He was watching from a third person's perspective, and it was like watching a clear movie. Dumbo's Yuan Shen entered the river of destiny and immediately turned into a giant planet. It rotated slowly and emitted the aura of eternity, chaos, chaos and chaos. In fact, when she appeared in the river of fate, a huge arc suddenly appeared, carrying the planet and rapidly advancing toward the shore of fate. The surrounding rivers seemed to be cheering. Fuck, this doesn't make sense. Xia Ping's mouth twitched and he was speechless. He remembered that when he had entered the river of fate, he had been empty-handed. He had been immersed in the river, and it had been extremely difficult for him to advance. The water around him seemed to be trying to stop him from moving forward. But what was going on now? When Dumbo's primordial spirit entered the river of fate, there was actually an arc escorting it. Moreover, the surrounding water flow was flowing smoothly, not against the current. It did not require much effort to move forward. It was as if they were guaranteed a place at birth. They didn't need to take any exams and could directly enter Tsinghua University. It was too unfair. Xia Ping admitted that he was a little jealous. This did not make sense at all. System, what is this? Xia Ping asked the system. The system replied, this is the Arc of Fate, a unique talent that only creatures favored by the universe can have. It is condensed by the laws of the universe and can protect special creatures to easily cross the sea of bitterness. Can I also have such an Arc of Fate? Xia Ping blinked his eyes. If he could condense such an Arc of Fate in the sea of bitterness, then he did not know how much effort he could save. There is no way. The system said, if Gaia is a creature favored by the universe, then the host is a creature that suffers the wrath of heaven. You belong to that kind of pest, the kind that is often struck by lightning. Therefore, crossing the sea of bitterness is thousands of times more difficult than ordinary cultivators. It expressed that Xia Ping wanted to take a shortcut. This was a fool's dream. It would be lucky if he was not struck by lightning. Xia Ping looked depressed. Why was he a pest of the universe? It was not reasonable at all. Heaven was really unfair. However, thinking about it carefully, he was really struck by lightning from the beginning until now. However, no matter how he felt, the ark still moved forward quickly like a jet yacht. There was even air around it and the speed was incredible. This was no longer crossing the Sea of Bitterness, but traveling on a luxury yacht. Splash! In just 2 hours the ark carried Dumbo across this endless river. Along the way Xiaoping also benefited a lot. He had been watching as if he had experienced the journey from the early stage of the Thunder Retribution Realm to the peak of the Thunder Retribution Realm. He had seen the scenery of the entire River of Fate and knew every turbulence in this long river. This was of great benefit to him crossing the Sea of Bitterness. He knew this place like the back of his hand. If he continued to cross the Sea of Bitterness now, then he could save several times more effort than before. This was like going through the college entrance examination in advance, knowing the content of the college entrance examination, and then being able to take it again. This was simply equivalent to cheating. If other cultivators knew of Xiaoping's experience, they would definitely be green with envy. Crossing the Sea of Bitterness is really difficult. Xiaoping narrowed his eyes. At first, the Sea of Bitterness was calm without any waves. However, after moving forward for a certain distance, countless whirlpools appeared, and there were spirals everywhere. If a person fell into it, they would definitely be sucked in by the whirlpools, unable to move an inch and sink forever. If he came to the second half of the Sea of Bitterness, it would be even more terrifying. Not only would there be torrential whirlpools, but there would also be storms, thunderbolts, raging waves and so on. If Dumbo did not have the Ark of Fate to escort him, and all the forces retreated, automatically opening up a safe path, Xiaoping doubted that he could pass the second half of the Sea of Bitterness. It was no wonder that there were so few people who advanced to the Saint Realm. Just crossing the Sea of Bitterness was an extremely difficult thing. Not to mention, after crossing the Sea of Bitterness, it would cause the backlash of the origin of the universe, triggering the Thunder Retribution. We're here. Chapter 2025. What is this? Xiaoping could feel the greatness of this door. It was emitting the aura of immortality, eternity, chaos, and so on. It was engraved with dense and esoteric inscriptions, which seemed to contain endless information. Just by looking at it, he felt that there was so much information that his head was about to explode. He was so scared that he didn't dare to look at it anymore. He quickly lowered his head. System, what is this? Xiaoping asked. This is the Gate of Destiny, a gateway to the origin of the universe. It is also the end of the River of Destiny. Through this gate, you can jump out of the Sea of Bitterness and communicate with the origin of the universe. The system replied. Whoosh. Without waiting for Xiaoping to say anything, the Ark of Fate, carrying Dumbo, suddenly smashed open the door. Boom. Before Xiaoping could clearly see what was outside the door, a powerful force instantly forced his primordial spirit back into his body. The Gate of Destiny? Xiaoping stood up and saw the sky above Dumbo shaking violently. The void cracked. It seemed that the infinite spirit in Gaia's body communicated with the origin of the universe. Suddenly, a huge bronze gate appeared clearly. The patterns, inscriptions, and lines on the door frame all appeared. The ancient aura of chaos filled the entire space of the Pearl of Mountains and Rivers. Whoosh, the Gate of Destiny opened slowly. The inside was hazy and chaotic. Nothing could be seen clearly. Then, the universal laws, the origin of the universe, and the universal runes fell like a landslide and a tsunami. In the depths of the void, there were many stars as if countless stars were falling. This? Xiaoping was shocked. He felt the powerful energy falling from the Gate of Destiny. His body flashed and immediately moved thousands of kilometers away from Dumbo. He didn't want to encounter any accidents and affect Dumbo's advancement. With his eyes, he could see the endless universal origin energy and the information of the universal laws, which seemed to turn into a galaxy, falling on Dumbo's head. Whoosh. In the next second, the huge galaxy was directly infused into Dumbo's body, into her limbs, bones, and even the depths of her spirit. Her magic power, primordial spirit, and strength were all increasing at a crazy rate. A superior, almost immortal aura diffused from her body. It seemed that she had transcended everything. He really succeeded. He actually managed to summon the Gate of Fate. He's going to communicate with the origin of the universe, condense a true spirit, and become undying. The Azure Ox had also noticed this phenomenon. It had experienced its old master's breakthrough before, so it knew that this was a cosmic phenomenon that would only appear after a successful breakthrough to the sempiternal realm. Heavens, There are simply too many of these universe origins and universe laws. Corinne, who also saw this scene, was completely shocked. When the myriad stars sages advanced to the sage realm, compared to this kind of cosmic phenomenon, the difference was 100 times or even 1,000 times. My God, is this the strongest race in the universe, Gaia? She has just advanced to the sage realm, but her accumulation has already reached such a level. She's already so terrifying now. How much more terrifying will she become in the future? It was dumbfounded and shocked, not knowing what to say. The instant a lightning tribulation eminence advanced to the sage realm, they would communicate with the universe's origin and open the gate of destiny. And the more profound the accumulation, the more universe origin it could communicate with. Then, the gate of destiny would release even more universe origin, as well as all sorts of information about the laws of the universe. This way, those who had just advanced to the sage realm would have even more profound accumulation, and their future cultivation would be smooth, more than 100 times faster than other sages. This was because such an opportunity only came once in a lifetime. When communicating with the universe's origin and opening the gate of destiny, a large amount of information about the laws would descend. This was the best opportunity for sages to comprehend the laws. It was like the answer to a test paper appearing in front of them. But if they missed this opportunity, the answer to the test paper would disappear, and it would be very difficult to comprehend it again. The cultivators who had accumulated more experience would obtain more answers in the test papers. Thus, some sages did not improve even after billions of years, but some sages improved at lightning speed, breaking through again and again. She is indeed too powerful. Even the mountain river sage is not 1/100th of her. This is the potential of the Gaia race. This is a living being that is favored by the heavens and earth. The Azure Ox did not know what to say. This was also the first time he had seen such an astonishing breakthrough scene. At this moment, there was still a vast amount of universe origin energy pouring down from the depths of the gate of destiny like an ocean, as if it would never stop. From afar it looked like a silver river connecting the void. Rumble, one after another, universe origin energy condensed from the universe's origin poured in, and the surrounding area of billions of kilometers seemed to have become an ocean of universe origin energy, filled with energy everywhere. The mountain river Pearl also seemed to be nourished by the universe origin energy, and it was constantly growing. The space was opening up bit by bit, and it even obtained many laws of the universe, making the surrounding space more stable. It could be said that the leaked universe origin energy and laws were too shocking. Good stuff. At this moment, Tan Minglu, who was playing games, also sensed this pure energy. As a Taotai, she abandoned the game and ran nearby, greedily devouring the universe origin energy. She sensed that this was very beneficial to her growth. Good treasure. Chong Xiaoqian also came over. Although she was young, she also knew that this was good stuff. It could help her grow faster, allowing her to become the true black hole worm king. She used the black hole worm's devouring power to devour large amounts of universe origin energy. It looks delicious. Luna's figure flashed and she also flew to her side. She also sensed that this energy was very beneficial to her growth, so she did not make a sound, and just devoured the universe origin energy at the side. Xiaoping was the same. The universe origin that was overflowing from the surroundings rushed into his body like it was free, and it was many times better than consuming some 10,000-year-old spiritual medicine. He felt that his body's spiritual power was increasing exponentially, and his 9 purple mansion spaces were devouring the energy crazily. Originally, his 9 purple mansion spaces needed to devour countless spiritual medicines to grow a little, but now that he had obtained the universe origin energy, his purple mansion spaces were easily filled up. This was simply a great fortuitous encounter. After all, it was very rare for ordinary people to see a sage advance. However, even if Xia Ping and the others devoured the universe origin energy, it was just a drop in the ocean in front of this huge universe origin energy. 99% of the energy was injected into Dumbo Gaia's body. Chapter 2026. The advancement lasted for 7 days and 7 nights before the gate of destiny's enormous energy stopped pouring down. The enormous source of the universe and the information of the laws were completely devoured by Dumbo. The gate of destiny completely collapsed, turning into a ball of energy and disappearing without a trace. Xia Ping had also devoured a portion of the universe's source energy, raising his magic power cultivation to the peak of the early stage of the lightning tribulation realm. His 9 purple mansion spaces were filled with dense magic power, almost overflowing. Just the energy devoured this time was enough to save him thousands of years of condensing magic power. At the same time, his primordial spirit was twice as powerful as before. His divine sense had become more powerful. His primordial spirit in the sea of bitterness was even more powerful, seemingly becoming more solid. In this way, his power to cross the sea of bitterness was even stronger. Even the endless seawater in the sea of bitterness was pulling his primordial spirit, wanting to pull him into the depths of the sea of bitterness. But in the face of the skyrocketing primordial spirit power, this resistance was nothing. And because of his previous experience, he easily crossed the first part of the sea of bitterness. He was just one step away from advancing to the middle stage of the lightning tribulation realm. Crossing the sea of bitterness seems to be a form of training. Xiaoping now understood a little. It seemed that crossing the sea of bitterness was an extremely difficult thing, but in fact, it was a chance to train his primordial spirit again and again. Every time he advanced a certain distance, his primordial spirit would become stronger. At the same time, because of the training in the sea of bitterness, it became more solid. When the primordial spirit was strong to a certain extent, it would transform into a real spirit, fusing into the limbs and bones, fusing into every cell of the body, truly forming an immortal body. Perhaps this was the true meaning of crossing the sea of bitterness. It was both a trial and an opportunity. The lightning tribulation is about to descend. Xiaoping squinted his eyes. At this time he felt that he seemed to have alarmed the source of the universe, causing a backlash. Deep in the void, a huge power of the tribulation was constantly gathering, as if it would descend at any time. But because the power of the tribulation had not reached its limit, it was like a whirlpool in the depths of the void, constantly spinning and brewing. Once it reached its limit, the lightning tribulation would descend. He finally understood what it meant to have a thorn on his back. There seemed to be an eye of heavenly punishment staring at him from the depths of the void. No matter where he hid, he couldn't hide. No wonder Thunder Tribulation realm powerhouses rarely roam the universe. Most of them are in closed-door cultivation or going out to train. If the power of Thunder Tribulation is watching them at all times and can descend at any time, the pressure will be extraordinary. Xiaoping also slightly understood the feelings of Thunder Tribulation eminences. They were so careful because they could be struck to death by the Thunder Tribulation at any time. Their lives were in danger. How could they be arrogant in such a situation? Of course, it wasn't just Xiaoping's magic power and primordial spirit that had improved tremendously this time around. At the same time, the golden crow of hell bloodline within him had transformed and awakened bit by bit. By now, he had awakened 500 million golden crow hell cells in his body. He could feel that the flames in his body had become even more intense, as if his body was about to transform into an elemental body. Every vein in his body was flowing like a flaming river. If a drop of his blood was placed on a planet, it would probably form a supervolcano that wouldn't be extinguished for 10,000 years. His strength and defense had improved further. Many golden crow of hell runes appeared in the depths of his blood, and his body emitted a sacred and ancient aura. It could be said that he had become a lot stronger after devouring a large amount of the universe's source energy. Tan Menglu, Chong Xiaoqian, and Luna seemed to have benefited a lot. Xiaoping looked at the three little girls in the distance. This time, they had also devoured a lot of the universe's source energy. Although they hadn't devoured as much as he had, it was still an extremely shocking amount. Their bloodlines were already extremely shocking, and they had endless potential. They just lacked energy. Now that they had devoured so much universe's source energy, their cultivation suddenly improved by leaps and bounds. It probably saved them at least a few thousand years of cultivation. This could be counted as an unprecedented fortuitous encounter. Of course, the one who had benefited the most was Gaia and Dumbo. Xiaoping looked over and saw that Dumbo had already woken up. She opened her eyes, and the depths of her pupils seemed to contain clusters of nebulae. They were unfathomable, as if they were all-encompassing. At the same time, her body also emitted waves of immortal aura, as if she had transcended this world and was independent of this space. No one knew how powerful Dumbo was now. Immortal Gaia. Corinne and Green Ox both looked at Dumbo with a little reverence. They could sense that Dumbo's current life level was completely different from before. She had transcended. Brother. Dumbo took a step forward, as if she had transcended space and traveled through the void. She directly reached Xiaoping's side, as if this ability had fused into the depths of her bloodline and was an instinct. How do you feel? Xiaoping asked curiously. Feel? I don't seem to feel anything. Dumbo looked confused. She felt that there was not much difference compared to before. For her, increasing her strength was just a matter of time. It was not a big deal. Don't feel anything? The corner of Xiaoping's mouth twitched. She had already advanced to the sage realm. This was the realm that countless creatures in the universe dreamed of. How could she not feel anything? She was too confused. Brother, come and take a look. Dumbo stretched out her finger and lightly touched Xiaoping's forehead. A mysterious energy was instilled in. Boom. Suddenly, countless information about Dumbo was instilled into the depths of Xiaoping's sea of consciousness. Xiaoping felt that his spirit was suddenly pulled into Dumbo's soul space, as if both of them had fused into one. This? Xiaoping first discovered that the space in Dumbo's body had undergone earth-shaking changes. It was originally just a planet and a few continents, but now it had evolved into the appearance of a small universe. Planets and continents appeared in this universe space one after another. In addition to the previous planet and the cloud continent, it seemed that there were thousands of large continents and densely packed planets in the space in his body. These planets and continents had just been born like a newborn world. They were lush with a large number of plants, but there were no intelligent creatures. They were like primitive planets and continents, waiting to be developed by humans. Moreover, these planets and continents contained a huge amount of mineral resources. The volume of the space in his body was also 10,000 times larger than before. It was equivalent to the area of a star field. Moreover, this Gaia space seemed to be constantly expanding as Dumbo's strength evolved. Chapter 2027. As Xiaoping continued to explore, he found that the space within Dumbo's body was not as simple as just expanding. The laws of heaven and earth in this space seemed to be more complete than before. If it was the previous Gaia space, a full blow from a Thunder Retribution Realm powerhouse might be able to break this space barrier. However, it was completely different now. It seemed that the space laws had been completely perfected. This was due to the infusion of many universal laws, allowing Gaia space to be perfectly improved. It was estimated that even if a sage entered Gaia space now, it would be difficult to break it so easily. Moreover, the chi of heaven and earth inside Gaia space was more than 1,000 times richer than before. Energy from the origin of the universe was everywhere, which was of great benefit to the cultivation of living beings. The reason for this situation seemed to be that Gaia could communicate with the origin of the universe at any time and absorb the origin energy from the depths of the universe, allowing her to evolve at all times. Amazing, is this the so-called immortal level? Xiaoping narrowed his eyes. He sensed that Dumbo's spirit had also changed, transforming into a true spirit. It had completely integrated into every cell in the body, gathering and dispersing at will. It could be said that every grain of sand, every weed, every drop of water, and even every particle of dust in the air contained a trace of Gaia's soul energy. Even if Gaia's body was smashed into pieces, as long as there was a particle of dust, the true spirit could teleport over. She could then absorb the origin energy of the universe through the true spirit and quickly recover. This was simply an immortal body. At this level, the body was nothing. What was important was one's soul. As long as the soul was not destroyed and the true spirit did not die, she would be an immortal existence. Although he knew that sages had an immortal body, and as long as they were not completely annihilated, they could be continuously resurrected even if the true spirit was destroyed. However, he now knew how terrifying sages were. Physical attacks alone would not be able to kill an immortal rank saint. However, thinking of this, Xiaoping suddenly remembered that he had been besieged by sages before. At that time, his master, Dark North Sage, had personally taken action and killed several sages with a single move. He did not know what realm his master had reached, to be able to kill even an immortal sage. Even the current Gaia was far inferior to such power. Dong. At this moment, Xiaoping's spirit shook and immediately separated from Dumbo's body. It seemed to be expelled by a force. His consciousness also returned to his body. Brother, I'm sleepy. Dumbo yawned and rubbed his eyes with his little hands, revealing a sleepy face. If you're sleepy, then let's sleep. Xiaoping patted little Dumbo's little head. He knew that little Dumbo had just advanced to the sempiternal realm and had yet to fully evolve. He still needed to go into seclusion to consolidate his strength. The reason she was feeling sleepy now was because her body was instinctively reminding her. And? Hearing this, Dumbo flashed and returned to his residence. He lay on the bed and slept soundly. Layers upon layers of spatial barriers appeared around her body. They were densely packed with tortoiseshell patterns, like the barriers of the world, protecting her body. Such a world barrier could isolate all powers and display absolute defense. It was impossible for anyone to kill her while she was in her slumber. Corinne, do you know what realm of Sage Dummy is at now? Xiaoping asked Corinne. He felt that since he had advanced to the Thunder Tribulation realm, he was also qualified to know some information about sages. Sooner or later he would also become a sage, so knowing this information in advance would also have a certain degree of benefits. I don't know all kinds of information about sages. This is top secret. Corinne said in a deep voice, but Xiaoping, you are a disciple of the Holy Land of Taichu, and now you have also advanced to the Thunder Tribulation realm. You should have the authority to inquire about the information about the Sage realm. He said that the level of his previous master's contact was too low. He had always been a rogue cultivator without any master to teach him, so he didn't know too much about the mysteries of sages. The Green Ox also didn't seem to know very much about the cultivation between sages. Because of the war in the Archean era, the Pearl of Mountains and Rivers was seriously damaged, which also led to the loss of some of its memories. Then I'll check it. Xiaoping nodded and immediately took out his communicator with the absolute beginning chip installed. He directly entered the internal virtual network of the Holy Land of Taichu and opened the page of information about sages. Can I really check it? He was immediately overjoyed. He had inquired about it before, but was told that he didn't have the authority. Now that he had advanced to the Thunder Tribulation realm, it seemed that the authority seemed to be unlocked, allowing him to inquire about similar information. Xiaoping clicked on a lot of information about sages, and immediately a series of information about sages appeared. I see. After a long time, Xiaoping nodded and suddenly understood. There are so many realms of sages. Corinne also saw this scene and suddenly felt that it was an eye-opener. The first realm is the new sage, that is, the immortal sage who has condensed the true spirit and the immortal body. The next realms are Near Ancient Sage, Middle Ancient Sage, Immemorial Sage, and the last Invincible Sage. There are 6 realms in total. The Immortal Sage, Near Ancient Sage, Middle Ancient Sage, Immemorial Sage, and Invincible Sage. Each realm is stronger than the previous one, and the gap is indescribable. It is almost impossible to challenge someone of a higher realm. The Green Ox also widened its eyes. It seems that the old master is just the lowest sage, the Immortal Sage. Corinne sighed. No wonder the enemy who chased after the Star Sage was so terrifying and looked down on the Star Sage. The other party was at least in the realm above the Near Ancient Sage. How is this realm divided? Is it divided according to age? The Green Ox looked at it curiously, but he still couldn't see the strength division of each realm of sages. He wanted to inquire about the detailed information, but Xiaoping didn't seem to have enough authority. The above suggested that one had to be at least in the immortal realm to be qualified to inquire about it. After all, if one didn't become a sage, knowing it wouldn't be of much use. It's impossible to divide according to age. Sages don't become stronger the longer they live. They duel according to the power of laws they have mastered. Corinne shook his head. The enemy who killed the Star Sage was younger than the Star Sage. He seemed to be the heir of an ancient family. If age could crush everything, the Star Sage wouldn't have died. It seems that Dumbo should be in the Immortal Sage realm. Xiaoping understood everything clearly. Chapter 2028. Haha. At this moment, Chong Xiaoqian seemed to have awakened from her seclusion. Her aura skyrocketed and she had advanced to the Law Phase realm. Compared to before, her improvement was simply godly. With her body as the center, waves of spatial fluctuations appeared. Many spatial ripples appeared within a radius of 10 million kilometers, filled with the aura of the Space Dominator. It was as if she could travel through space and condense spatial power to kill her enemies with a casual move. Her strength had skyrocketed countless times. One could imagine how much she had gained this time. Of course, the most important thing was that she had excellent aptitude. She was the Black Hole Worm King that only appeared once in a trillion years. Her cultivation had been smooth without any bottlenecks. In the distance, the Black Hole Worm Elders also sensed the aura from Chong Xiaoqian. Their bodies trembled violently, and their eyes revealed joyful expressions. It's the king, it's the aura of the king. It seems like the king's power has skyrocketed, increased countless times. He's at least at the Law Phase realm. No way. The king was just born not long ago, but he's already reached this level of cultivation. His improvement is too fast. Although the king's aptitude is amazing, it's probably because of Master's nurturing that he can improve so quickly. Looks like relying on Master was the right decision. Without Master, the king couldn't have improved so quickly. It's really incredible. I seem to sense an immortal aura just now. Could it be that Master has advanced to the Sage Realm? It's not that Master has advanced to the Sage Realm, but one of his subordinates, Gaia. As expected of Master. He can even subdue Gaia. Looks like our black hole worm race will once again make a name for ourselves in the universe. We won't hide like stray dogs anymore. The black hole worm elders discussed excitedly. Thinking of their king's increased strength and their master's potential, they became even more loyal to Xia Ping. Regent? Where is the regent? Chong Xiaoqian placed her hands on her hips and chortled with glee. She had gained so much power, so her ego was naturally inflated. She shouted, "Shameless regent, this king will let you know my power today. This king is the true supreme king. Obediently return the authority, or I'll banish you to the cold palace." She felt that she was invincible now. Subduing that hateful regent was a piece of cake. At that time she would let this hateful regent pour tea and water and clean up every day. Let's see if this bastard still dared to force her to do her homework and threaten to cut off her internet. Just thinking about it made her feel incomparably happy. What? Do you want me to know how powerful it is? Hearing this, Xia Ping's figure flickered and appeared in front of Chong Xiaoqian, looking down at her from above. Stupid, stupid Prince Regent, I won't be afraid of you. You don't know how powerful I am now. When Chong Xiaoqian saw Xia Ping, she immediately felt guilty. She suddenly recalled the fear of being dominated by the regent. It was easy to imagine how much psychological trauma the regent had left in her heart. However, when she thought about her swelling strength and the powerful spatial fluctuations brewing in her body, she felt that she should not be afraid of this hateful regent anymore. What are you talking about? Looks like you're lacking in homework. When you go back tonight, copy the textbook 10 times. You're not allowed to go online if you miss even one. Xia Ping gave him a sidelong glance. What? You're abusing a child. This is tyranny. Chong Xiaoqian was going crazy. It was impossible for her to copy the textbook 10 times, not even a single time. Oh, is that so? Soul-binding chains. Xia Ping gently pointed, and countless hell runes immediately surged out from the depths of the void, quickly condensing into a black chain, instantly binding Chong Xiaoqian's body, making it impossible for her to react. Ah, scoundrel, treacherous official, what are you trying to do? Are you trying to usurp the throne? Chong Xiaoqian suddenly discovered that after her body was bound by the chain, she was unable to break free with her own strength. The more she struggled, the tighter the chain became. Moreover, the spatial energy on her body was completely useless. This was a hell chain that targeted the primordial spirit. She was directly hung in midair by Xia Ping, her legs constantly kicking and struggling. Her face was filled with rage and grief. Green Ox, capture her and supervise her copying homework. She plays games all day and doesn't even know how to study. How is she going to make a name for herself in the future and earn money for me? Xia Ping said to the Green Ox. Yes, master, leave it to me. The Green Ox stroked his beard and smiled amiably. Demon, this Prince Regent is indeed a demon. Chong Xiaoqian's face was filled with grief and indignation. She was only a child, but this bastard already wanted to squeeze out her remaining value and work for him all day. If he wasn't a demon, what was he? Now that even the Green Ox had become this demon's accomplice, she was now completely deserted and alone. All right, Xiaoqian, don't be angry. You're stronger than others now. Haven't you learned what it means to endure humiliation and endure hardships? As a ruler, you should have the magnanimity to endure what others can't. This is something you should learn. The Green Ox said in a low voice and mysteriously. The magnanimity of a ruler? Hearing this, Chong Xiaoqian suddenly came to a realization, and her spirits were immediately lifted. It seemed like the Green Ox was indeed a very loyal official. Among all the civil and military officials in the imperial court, there was only one good person like him. Indeed, what she should do now was to endure humiliation and endure hardships. She shouldn't clash head-on with this demon, or else she would be the one to suffer. Tonight, copy your homework properly and let your master's guard down. When you become stronger in the future, it won't be too late for you to take revenge. It's never too late for a ruler to take revenge. The Green Ox smiled slightly. Don't worry, I understand. This is what it means to appear weak to the enemy. Chong Xiaoqian nodded, clenched her fists, and her eyes lit up. But after I finish my homework, can I go online? I've already agreed to play with a group of people yesterday. We're going to dungeon and fight a boss. She still couldn't forget about the internet and wanted to go online to fight dungeons. Of course, no problem. The green ox chuckled and took Chong Xiaoqian away. Seeing the internet addict Chong Xiaoqian being taken away, Xiaoping also looked at Tan Minglu and Luna. The two of them seemed to have also devoured a large amount of cosmic origin energy and were currently in a coma. Masses of energy were entwined around their bodies, forming a huge energy silkworm, and they were probably refining and absorbing it. With a wave of his hand, he immediately grabbed the two of them and placed them in the resting room so that they could cultivate and evolve in peace. Chapter 2029. In a quiet room within the Mountain River Pearl space, Xiaoping was refining the three low-grade saint artifacts, the Star Punishment Sword, the Mystic Moon Demon Sealing Tablet, and the Crimson Sun Demon Sealing Tablet. There were also two mid-grade saint artifacts, the Yin Wind 8 Trigrams Banner and the 9 Dragons Bronze Mirror. He had used the Golden Crow of Hell's Flames to forcibly burn off the mental connection between them and their previous owners and forcibly engraved his spiritual imprint on them. However, he hadn't reached the realm of becoming one with the artifacts yet. He hadn't completely grasped the power of these artifacts yet. It just so happened that he had the time to refine all of these sacred artifacts. That way, no one would be able to snatch these sacred artifacts away from him. As soon as he refined the Star Punishment Sword, the Mystic Moon Demon Sealing Tablet, and the Crimson Sun Demon Sealing Tablet, Xiaoping immediately sensed the immense power of the sun, moon, and stars gushing out from the depths of these three low-grade saint artifacts. Whoosh! Suddenly the entire sky darkened. It was as if a sky full of stars had appeared. Beams of starlight fell down one after another, pouring into his body like a river. They actually have the effect of refining the body? Xiaoping raised his eyebrows. He discovered that the enormous power gushing in from these three artifacts had seeped into every corner of his body and was strengthening his internal organs. One star after another surged into his acupoints, releasing wisps of blue starlight that were refining every bone in his body. Vaguely, densely packed star runes appeared in the depths of his bones. The power of the moon seeped into his internal organs and nourished every inch of his muscles. Everywhere was filled with the power of the moon, and his entire body seemed to be surrounded by silver-white light. The power of the red sun seemed to have fused into his heart and turned into flames in his blood. It flowed along his blood vessels and seeped into every meridian, emitting wisps of flames that burned every drop of impurities in his body. Xiaoping's body was already strong enough. He had the constitution of the Golden Crow of Hell and the body of a divine beast. However, under the refinement of these three low-grade saint artifacts, he could actually get rid of the impurities in his body and be reborn. I see. Xiaoping understood a little. These three saint artifacts not only had the effect of trapping and killing enemies, but they were also treasures that could assist in cultivation. They were greatly beneficial to the Starlight race, the Glorious Sun race, and the Radiant Moon race. It seemed to have been refined by the saints of the three great races, and contained the cultivation secrets of the three great races. It could absorb the power of the sun, moon, and stars in the depths of the void to cultivate. As he continued to refine it, the effects of his cultivation became even more astonishing. The energy of the sun, moon, and stars flowed continuously in his body, forming a triangular formation that grew and multiplied endlessly. His comprehension of the three low-quality saint artifacts deepened as well. He seemed to be able to communicate with the artifact spirits of the three saint artifacts. Previously, he had only used the infernal golden crow flames to intimidate them, and they were still a little unwilling. But now they had the thought of submitting and were willing to acknowledge him as their master. After refining for several days, Xiaoping finally succeeded in refining the three low-rank saint artifacts. He then set his eyes on the two mid-rank saint artifacts, the 9-Dragon Treasure Mirror and the Yin Wind 8 Trigrams Plate. This Yin Wind 8 Trigrams banner was a sacred weapon of the demon clan. It contained a powerful demon clan aura, but it was not suitable for cultivation. It was only suitable for killing enemies. Therefore he did not intend to use the Yin Wind 8 Trigrams banner to train his body. However, this 9-Dragon Treasured Mirror was completely different. It was a powerful sage weapon that was created by a human sage after he killed 9 true dragons and smelted many universe-grade materials. This mirror contained a powerful true dragon power, which would definitely be of great benefit to his cultivation. Boom. Thinking of this, Xiaoping did not hesitate. He immediately poured the power of his soul into it, completely fusing with the 9-Dragon Treasure Mirror and communicating with the internal artifact spirits of the mirror. However, the mirror had 9 artifact spirits, which were the 9 dragons. They were scattered throughout the mirror, as if there were 9 worlds within the mirror, and each dragon lived in one of the worlds. Human, give up. We will not submit. Don't think that we'll be at your beck and call just because you've heavily injured us with some small tricks. That's right. We dragons are a peak race. We don't lose to humans. You're dreaming if you think you can order us around. Even though Xia Ping had used the Hell Golden Crow flames to subdue them, they refused to submit willingly. They remained defiant as they let out furious roars, unwilling to submit to the human. Back then, Su Chang had spent a great deal of effort and time to curry favor with the 9 dragons in order to tame the medial-grade sacred weapon. Only then did he barely gain their acknowledgement. Now, it was impossible for Xia Ping to tame them instantly. Is that so? Upon thinking of this, Xia Ping's mind stirred. Immediately, a primordial sky dragon aura surged out from his body. It came from the 46 primordial sky dragon talismans. He immediately injected it into the depths of the mirror. Immediately, the 9 dragons in the depths of the mirror were shocked. This was because the primordial sky dragon enjoyed a lofty status among the dragons. They were considered existences at the level of a sacred dragon. Such an aura immediately subdued the 9 dragons. They could not help but prostrate to express their submission. The bloodline deep within them was completely unable to resist the primordial sky dragon aura. Impossible. This is the aura of a primordial sky dragon. How can a human like you possess such an aura? You actually have a dragon aura that's even purer than ours. Are you really a human? You must be joking. What's going on? The 9 dragons were dumbfounded. They could not figure out how a human could possess the aura of a primordial sky dragon. Refine. Xia Ping had no intention of explaining. With a thought, a powerful force of essence soul instantly permeated the depths of the medial-grade sacred weapon. Taking advantage of their moment of shock, he instantly shattered their psyche defenses and permeated his psyche imprint to completely refine it. Immediately, the 9 dragons instinctively sensed that they were extremely close to Xia Ping. Their souls were fused as though they were kin who had gone through life and death together. Their bloodlines were fused and they no longer had any thoughts of resisting. Rumble. Waves of true dragon aura emanated from the 9 dragons. Like rivers, they surged into Xia Ping's limbs and bones, transforming into his veins. His veins protruded as though they were entrenched by true dragons. Countless true dragon talismans fused into his bloodline as a dragon's might permeated the surroundings, distorting the void. Pa. With the infusion of these energies, Xia Ping's infernal golden crow bloodline began to awaken rapidly. 1 million cells, 5 million cells, 10 million cells. In the end, he had awakened a total of 50 million infernal golden crow cells. Waves of terrifying infernal golden crow flames surged out of his body, burning everything within 500 kilometers into a sea of fire. The flames condensed into lava, and the lava became volcanoes. Chapter 2030. Xia Ping opened his eyes and looked at his surroundings. He felt lucky. Fortunately, he usually chose seclusion places in the mountain river pearl space that were sparsely populated. Otherwise, just this power alone would be enough to destroy all the buildings around him. He could sense that the volcanoes around him were erupting dark golden flames that contained terrifying deviant flame power. Ordinary creatures would be burned to ashes if they approached. The temperature in the depths of the volcanoes was close to the temperature of a star. Ordinary substances would be vaporized. Moreover, it wouldn't be a problem for these volcanoes to exist for millions of years. This feeling? Xia Ping narrowed his eyes. He sensed that after awakening 50 million golden crow hell cells, the blood in the depths of his body had undergone an incredible change. He actually sensed a trace of immortality. Under his divine sense, the necrotic cells in the depths of his body had an aura of continuous rebirth. It vaguely possessed the magical ability of the golden crow hell to be reborn in the flames. Could it be that when 1 billion golden crow hell cells awaken in my body, I will have an immortal body? Xia Ping felt that when his golden crow hell cells reached a certain number, he would probably have an immortal body even if he didn't advance to the sage realm. Perhaps this was the golden crow hell's innate magical ability. Even though he only had 550 million golden crow hell cells, his body already contained a trace of immortality. It was as if he was transforming into a mythical creature's physique. If I can have an immortal body, I might be able to fight against an immortal sage as a lightning tribulation realm. Xia Ping narrowed his eyes and was tempted. To be honest, the reason why an immortal sage was countless times stronger than a lightning tribulation realm expert was not only because of their dense magic power, but also because they had an immortal body. It was precisely because sages couldn't be killed no matter what. Even Star Destroyer cannons couldn't destroy them. They could be reborn even if they had a single cell left. That was why they were so terrifying. No matter how many Lightning Tribulation Realm experts there were, they couldn't kill a sage. However, a sage could easily slaughter a group of Lightning Tribulation Realm experts. But if he also had an immortal body, then it might not be impossible for him to fight against an immortal sage. Walala, as Xiaoping's magic power and power continued to rise, his divine sense power also increased bit by bit. His spirit seemed to have entered the sea of bitterness again. He could sense that his body in the sea of bitterness seemed to be a little stronger. The first half of the sea of bitterness could no longer stop him, and the surrounding seawater could not stop him from moving forward. The aura of the lightning tribulation in the depths of the void seemed to have become even more intense. This action had triggered a backlash from the universe's origin, as if the lightning tribulation would descend at any moment. However, this tribulation aura hadn't reached its peak yet. It was still gathering, so it didn't descend. Once the aura of the tribulation filled up the whirlpool, it would be time for the lightning tribulation to descend. He carefully estimated that there were about 3 months left. What is this? Suddenly Xiaoping's soul shuddered. He felt the river of destiny tremble. The water surged as a mysterious message entered the depths of his soul. At once, mysterious images appeared in his sea of consciousness. A girl was constantly running for her life. Her face was filled with terror and despair, but there was a hint of determination in the depths of her beautiful eyes. There seemed to be a terrifying figure chasing after her. That terrifying figure emitted a dark, cursed, and evil aura. It was like a demon from the abyss, surrounded by countless vengeful spirits. Clearly, its hands were stained with the blood of countless lives. This figure's aura shocked Xiaoping, because the other party was an immortal saint. Even so, every time she was in a desperate situation, she could always escape at the crucial moment when she was being chased by a saint. However, after running for a long time, she was a little exhausted. It was unknown how long she could last. In an instant, the immortal saint seemed to sense something, and a pair of emotionless eyes looked over. Dong. In the next second, Xiaoping's spirit shuddered, and the images shattered like glass. In an instant, his spirit broke away from these images. A cold glint flashed in his eyes because he knew this girl. She was the Soul Race's saintess Lu Rulan. He had met her once in the Blood Soul mainland. They had even carried out soul dual cultivation and cultivated the telepathic heart technique. Their relationship was not shallow. System, what's going on with these images in my mind? Xiaoping asked. This is a lightning tribulation realm cultivator's sudden inspiration. The system replied, cultivators who have reached this realm will enter the river of fate. They will be able to see a trace of their own fate. At this time, they will be able to sense some dangers in the future. This is the realm of the cicada's foresight before the autumn wind blows. Some Thunder Retribution realm experts can rely on this power to deduce fate to avoid countless threats. Some living beings with extremely powerful souls can rely on some special abilities and methods to see some fragments of the future through the river of destiny to seek fortune and avoid calamity. You can see the future? Xiaoping was shocked. There was actually such a method. Of course, this might not be the real future. It's just a deduction of destiny power and some fragments that might happen. After all, the future has countless possibilities and branches. It's not impossible for some accidents to happen. The system said. In other words, these fragments that suddenly appeared in my mind might be something that will happen in the future. Xiaoping narrowed his eyes. It might happen in the future or it might happen in the present. Because the host once cultivated the telepathic heart technique with this woman, there is a deep connection between their souls. In times of danger and despair, the other party might also send you a distress signal. The system indicated that this was the mystery of the soul. Sometimes, it could ignore the distance between them and transmit information. Distress signal? Xiaoping nodded. He felt that this was very possible. From these images he could also sense Lu Rulan's strong distress signal. However, the enemy was a sage, which was no small matter. Host, what do you plan to do? The enemy is a sage. The system asked. Do you even need to ask? Of course I'm going to meet him. It's a good opportunity to see the power of a sage. Xiaoping rubbed his chin. If it was before, he would not seek death like this. However, Dumbo had advanced to the sage realm and he was also a lightning tribulation realm powerhouse. He had countless treasures and trump cards. Even if he could not defeat the immortal sage, he would not die. He was prepared for anything. However, Lu Rulan's location is not shown in the images. Seems like I still need to use the wish compass to find her. Chapter 2031. A day later. Xia Ping found Lu Rulan's location through the wish compass. She happened to be in the Central Universe's ordinary zone, not far from where he was in seclusion. Perhaps that was the reason he sensed it. Interesting, this world seems to be hidden by someone on purpose. Xia Ping narrowed his eyes and steered the stars closer to the world indicated by the wish compass. Soon he found out that the world was hidden deep in the void. Layers of restrictive formations were set up around it, making one's scalp tingle. It was as if there were war fortresses set up nearby. Anyone who got a little closer would be turned into a hornet's nest. The world was hidden in the void. If not for the wish compass's indication, he would not have discovered this unique world hidden in the nearby dimension. Without a doubt, this world was not registered and was deliberately hidden by a saint. In other words, this world seemed to be worth the saint spending so much effort to do such a thing. However, Lu Rulan appeared in this world. Why exactly? Could it be the Blood Soul Saint's lair? Xia Ping suddenly recalled his experience in the Blood Soul mainland. The reason Lu Rulan left back then was because she was teleported away by a restrictive formation in the Blood Soul mainland. That was the Blood Soul Saint's backup plan. Now, it seemed like Lu Rulan was probably teleported to this place. However, it was obvious that the Blood Soul Saint's backup plan was also a little troublesome, causing Lu Rulan to be in such a crisis. Corinne, do you know how we can enter this world without being discovered? Xia Ping asked Corinne. He felt that if he forced his way in, he would definitely be discovered by the saint guarding this world. He had yet to find Lu Rulan, so it was not suitable for him to have a conflict with the saint of this world for now. Most importantly, only by knowing oneself and one's enemy could one emerge victorious. He had to figure out the trump card of this place to have a certain chance of winning. Otherwise he would not even know how he died. Of course, no problem. You're underestimating the current stars, Corinne said proudly. Corinne said proudly, don't look at how this world is full of restrictive arrays, but as a middle-grade sage-level spaceship, myriad stars can completely disguise its appearance and aura, turning into a meteorite and falling into this world. This way it can ensure that the sages of this world won't discover anything. Xia Ping nodded. He also saw that although this world was hidden deep in the void, a large number of meteorites would be attracted and fall into this world from time to time. This was a very normal astronomical phenomenon. If the stars entered this world disguised as a meteorite, the saint who controlled this world would not notice anything fishy. After all, the saint could not monitor this world all the time and he did not have that much energy. Whoosh. Thinking of this, under Corinne's control, the myriad stars immediately transformed into a gray meteorite and slowly flew toward this mysterious and special world. Whoosh, in the next second, the stars easily entered this world. Ripples appeared in the surrounding void, but the restriction formations did not react at all, as if they thought it was an ordinary meteorite that had fallen in. Just like that, Xia Ping entered this world. Qinghai Realm. This was a world that was 80% composed of ocean. The seawater was cyan and extremely beautiful. There was only one piece of land in the middle of the world. The rest were islands that dotted this world like stars. This continent was also known as the Azure Sea Continent. Countless creatures lived on this continent. At this moment, in the northeast corner of the Azure Sea Continent, there was a boundless primeval forest. It was surrounded by dense trees, and the green trees gave off a wild and ancient aura. A group of people was flying in the air. Their clothes were tattered and they looked nervous and defeated. Obviously they were fleeing. The group was led by a man and a woman, and the rest seemed to be their subordinates and servants. Bastards, our soul race has been almost wiped out by those great demons. Why are they still not letting us go? One of the women in red gritted her teeth. Even if we hide in the deep mountains and forests, even if we hide in the depths of the ocean, even if we hide in the countryside, we will still be found and killed by them. At this point, we are just a weak race. Even if we count the number of people in our race, there are only 2 or 3 kittens left. We are not a threat at all. Why are they still chasing us? She was very unwilling. After fleeing for so many days, her mind was exhausted, and she could not hold on any longer. There is no other way. Beside her, a man in purple shook his head. The killing cursed demon saint personally gave the order to wipe out our soul race. How could the great demons under it let us go? Naturally, they risked their lives to kill us, complete the mission, and get the credit. Damn it, it's all that outsider Lu Rulan's fault. The woman in red gritted her teeth, and her face was full of anger. If this fellow did not suddenly come to our Azure Sea continent, we would still be living peacefully with these demons. However, when she came, she activated the Soul Hall's inheritance and attracted the killing cursed demon saint's attention. Our soul race was unlucky. The entire race was captured and died because of her. She hated Lu Rulan to the extreme, and her eyes were filled with hatred. If it was not for the outsider Lu Rulan's appearance, they would not have to live such a life of fleeing. It was a life worse than death. Young mistress, you can't blame young mistress Lu. At this time, a blue-clothed maid said charmingly, before Miss Lu came, our soul race was under the control of these demons. We lived like livestock and were raised. Every day some of our clansmen would be eaten by them. If it was not for those bad guys wanting to find out the secrets of this Azure Sea continent, they would have slaughtered us all long ago. Now they are just bringing this matter forward. She felt that this matter should not be blamed on others. The enemy should be the demons. Instead of hating the demons who killed their tribesmen, they focused all their hatred on their own people. She could not understand it at all. Shut up, you bitch. With a slap, the red-robed woman sent the blue-robed maid flying. A red palm print appeared on the maid's face, and a ruthless look appeared in her eyes. You're actually speaking up for that bitch? If it weren't for her, how could our soul race have fallen to such a state? Without her, I, Fang Xin, would still be the princess of the soul tribe, living a life of luxury. Now I am like a stray dog, worse than a pig or a dog. I know that the demons have been chasing you all this time to capture you and find Lu Rulan's whereabouts. Back then you were that bitch's maid. You were like a sister. Do you think I don't know about this? If that's the case, then why didn't Lady Lu hand me over? Wouldn't that stop the chase? Chapter 2032. You. The red-dressed woman, Fang Xin, was infuriated because the blue-dressed maidservant's words had hit her soft spot. If handing over the maidservant could stop the demon's pursuit, she would have handed the maidservant over a long time ago. Why would she wait until now? The problem was that the demons were unreasonable. They would not know who had a good relationship with Lu Rulan and who had a bad relationship with her. It was meaningless to them. They only needed to do one thing, and that was to complete the mission and capture all of them alive to obtain the killing demon sage's reward. The so-called negotiation was when both parties had trump cards and were of equal strength. Only then could they negotiate. Without strength, why would others negotiate with you? This was the current situation. Even if she handed over the maidservant, the demons would not stop hunting them down. Since they would not be able to live even if they handed over the maidservant, there was no doubt that they would do it. Most importantly, they had pinned their hopes on Lu Rulan. She was the one who had activated the Soul Clan's temple and had escaped from the killing demon sage several times. Her ability was not to be underestimated. Perhaps it was not Lu Rulan's own power, but she must have grasped some secrets about this world. That was why she could escape death so many times. Therefore they had kept the maidservant by their side, hoping to find an opportunity to form a connection with Lu Rulan through the maidservant. They hoped that Lu Rulan would protect them. However, now that their intentions were exposed by the maidservant in blue, the lady in red, Fang Xin, was enraged. She wanted to slap the maidservant again. She was just a lowly maidservant, yet she dared to speak to her master like that. She must have a death wish. Enough. Before Fang Xin could make a move, the man in purple next to her stopped her. He was Fang Xin's brother, Fang Yang. He was also the young master of the Soul Clan and the leader of the group. He said in a deep voice, "There are only a few of us left in the Soul Clan. We can't fight among ourselves. Are you trying to attract the demon's attention by starting a fight here?" That's a nice way of putting it. Won't we attract the demon's attention if we don't start a fight? We're already being watched. We can't escape even if we run to the ends of the earth. The lady in red, Fang Xin, said angrily. We have no choice. Looks like we can only go to the blood mist forbidden land now. The man in purple, Fang Yang, said in a low voice. What? Hearing this, the woman in red and the others were shocked. Blood Mist Forbidden Land. This was a famous forbidden land in the Azure Sea realm. There were countless legends about it and it was known as the Land of Death. Some people said that the Forbidden Land contained the ultimate secrets of the Spiritus, and that obtaining it would allow one to live forever. That place was vast and boundless. It seemed to cover the ends of this world. The space inside was folded and filled with bloody fog all day long. No one could see clearly what was inside. Throughout history, countless ancestors of the soul race had entered the blood mist forbidden land one after another. However, these people had all disappeared. Almost no one had been able to leave the blood mist forbidden land. No one knew whether they were dead or alive, not even their corpses had been found. In fact, it wasn't just the Spiritas who had entered. Tens of thousands of years ago, the demons had descended from the sky and occupied the Azure Sea realm. They had also discovered the blood mist forbidden land. They were immediately wild with joy, immediately entering the blood mist restricted land. However, they also disappeared, not a single one coming out. Even the death-cursing demon sage had explored the blood mist forbidden land, but it didn't go in. It only stood outside with a frown, pacing back and forth for a long time. It was as if it didn't dare to go in, as if there was a great secret inside. One could imagine how dangerous the blood mist forbidden land was. It was a place that even saints were afraid of. But now, Fang Yang wanted to go to the blood mist forbidden land. Wasn't he courting death? Brother, you're crazy. You're going to the blood mist forbidden land. Don't take us with you if you want to die. The woman in red, Fang Xan, was furious. I'm not crazy. This is a chance for us to survive. Fang Yang coldly said, we've been implanted with cursed power and tracking talismans. Even if we hide at the ends of the Azure Sea realm, those demons will still catch up and kill us. The only reason they haven't killed us yet is because they're treating this as a game. Maybe they want to lure Lu Rulan out and see if she'll come out to save us. That's why we can't continue like this. If we keep running, we'll die. It's better to enter the blood mist forbidden land. That way we'll be able to escape. This? Fang Xian and the rest fell silent. They didn't know what to say. Of course, I'm not really going there to die. Fang Yang's eyes lit up. I've read from the records of the ancestors of the Soul Tribe that the blood mist forbidden land might be an important inheritance left behind by our ancestor. The ancestors entered it one after another, hoping to obtain the inheritance. Since they didn't come out, it might not mean that they're dead. Instead, they might have been sent to another world. What? Brother, there's such a secret? Why didn't I know about it? Fang Xen and the rest were shocked. It's normal that you don't know about it. After all, this is a secret that only the clan leader knows. If I hadn't accepted the position of clan leader in the face of danger, I wouldn't have found out about it from the clan leader. Fang Yang said in a low voice. If that's the case, why didn't the clan leader announce this and let us take refuge in the blood mist forbidden land? Someone asked in confusion. Sai, this is just a guess, a beautiful guess. After all, if that group of people doesn't come out, they might really be dead. That place is purely a dangerous place. Fang Yang said, so in order to prevent many clansmen from dying in the blood mist forbidden land, the clan leader concealed this guess. There's no need to cause panic in the clan. But it's different now. We're being chased until we have nowhere to go. Only by entering the blood mist forbidden land will we have a chance of survival. Since we're going to die anyway, we might as well find an opportunity. We have no other way. Young clan leader is right. Rather than being killed by those monsters, it's better to enter the blood mist forbidden land and fight for a chance of survival. Fortune comes from danger. Whether we live or die depends on this. Many members of the Soul Tribe nodded. They agreed with Fang Yang's opinion. They would die wherever they went, so they might as well go to the blood mist forbidden land to find a chance of survival. If that place was really the Soul Tribe's inheritance land, then they could survive. Boom! At this moment, an air-piercing sound came from the sky. A meteorite fell from the sky with terrifying power. Oh no, there's a meteorite. Hide. The group of people cried out in panic. Fang Yang and the rest reacted quickly and quickly left. Dong. Immediately, the meteorite fell, smashing a deep pit, and dense cracks appeared around it. What's this? Fang Yang and the rest looked over. When the smoke and dust dispersed, a figure walked out of the deep pit. The meteorite that fell from the sky had disappeared without a trace. Chapter 2033. Just as Xiaoping arrived at the Azure Sea realm, a black spaceship was flying in the sky tens of thousands of miles away from the landing site. The spaceship was engraved with a black skull pattern, emitting an eerie aura of death. This was the Azure Sea realm's terrifying Cursed Legion. This was the most elite force under the Cursed Demon Saint. The monsters that could enter this force were at least at the Transcendence realm, and there were even quite a few Thunder Tribulation realm monsters. There were hundreds of great monsters inside the spaceship, among which there were 60 to 70 Transcendence realm great monsters and 30 Thunder Tribulation realm monster kings. Captain, we found the remnants of the soul race. A monster with a crow's head and a pair of black wings spoke expressionlessly. He had used a secret technique to find the remnants of the soul race. Oh, where are they? It's really hard for them to escape. We've surrounded them a few times but they still manage to escape. A monster king with a lion's head and a human's body said in a low voice. They're in a primeval forest tens of thousands of miles ahead. That place is close to the Blood Mist Forbidden Land. I'm afraid they want to enter the Blood Mist Forbidden Land to escape our pursuit. The monster said. What? They're quite bold to dare enter the Blood Mist Forbidden Land. Don't they know how terrifying the Blood Mist Forbidden Land is? Those who enter never come out. Even the cursed demon saint is extremely afraid of that place and doesn't dare to enter easily. They're probably going all out. They know they can't escape, so they want to enter the Blood Mist Forbidden Land and fight to the death. If they succeed, they'll be able to live. They have quite a few tricks up their sleeves. In that case, we can't let them succeed easily. Otherwise, they'll really enter the Blood Mist Forbidden Land safely. That'll be terrible. You're right. We have to cut off their hopes. We won't give them any chance at all. Don't worry, they won't be able to escape. The strongest is only at the Transcendence Realm. How can they stop us? But what's the use of capturing the remnants of the Soul Race? They're just natives of the Azure Sea Realm. That's not the way to put it. The Soul Race is a race left behind by the once famous Blood Soul Saint. They were born with powerful souls and were famous throughout the universe. Unfortunately, the Blood Soul Saint fell and the entire race declined. That's right. This time, Master is going all out to obtain the inheritance of the Blood Soul Saint. He has to capture Lu Rulan. This is related to whether Master will have a great opportunity to improve further. It's extremely important. That is indeed the case. If we can obtain the legacy of the famous Blood Soul Saint, I'm afraid that Master's cursing sage will improve further, reaching an unimaginable level. Naturally, our status will rise as well. Many demon kings discussed with a casual attitude. They completely treated this as a game of hunting and killing, and there was no challenge at all. After all, they were much stronger than the remnants of the Soul Race. Let alone an entire legion, even a third of the legion was enough to annihilate the remnants dozens of times over. Alright, don't be careless. This is Master's arrangement. We must handle this matter properly and not make any mistakes. If we are truly careless and allow those Soul Clan remnants to escape, both of us will suffer Master's wrath. The lion-headed demon king warned. Yes, Captain. Many of the demon kings were shocked. Recalling the rage of their master's cursing sage, they felt a chill run down their spines. If they offended the cursing sage, it would be a fate worse than death. It could be said that the cursing sage's reputation was even more terrifying than many other demon sages. This was because it had mastered the art of cursing and could often curse its enemies to death from thousands of miles away. It was invisible and unstoppable. Let's go. This time we must finish this battle in one fell swoop. We must not let these remnants escape. The lion-headed demon king gave the order. Whoosh. The black spaceship immediately sped up and chased after Fang Xian and the others. In another place, Xia Ping had just landed in Qinghai Realm and immediately kept the spaceship to prevent his identity from being exposed. Before he found Lu Rulan, he did not want to cause any unnecessary trouble. They seemed to be from the Soul Race. Walking out of the hole, he immediately found Fang Xian and the others beside him. He could sense that these people's aura were not human but from the Soul Race, which was similar to Lu Rulan's aura. They should be the natives of this world. Ask them what's going on in this world. Xia Ping's heart skipped a beat and he immediately walked over. However, this action made Fang Xian and the others nervous because they had been chased for too long. They were like birds startled by the mere twang of a bough. Any movement would cause them to panic. Stop, don't move. Otherwise, don't blame us for making a move. Fang Xian shouted as a warning. Oh, so what if I move? Xia Ping raised his eyebrows and looked at the group. Damn it. Fang Xian was instantly enraged. If she was still the Soul Race princess, she would have immediately ordered for this rude person to be chopped into pieces and fed to the dogs. Sister, don't be rash. This person's origin is unknown. He seems to be from the outer realm. Don't act rashly and cause unnecessary trouble. Fang Yang secretly used his divine sense to warn his sister. Hearing this, Fang Xian was very unwilling, but she could only listen to her brother's orders. In her eyes, this person who suddenly appeared in front of her did not have any aura. Obviously he was very weak. Facing such a person, there was no need to be polite. She could just kill him with a palm. Whoosh. Xia Ping took a step forward and arrived in front of the group. If I'm not wrong, you should be from the Soul Race. What? Hearing this, Fang Xian and the others immediately had goosebumps. They thought that this kid was someone who was chasing after them. However, they were still restrained by the cautious Fang Yang and could not act recklessly. "Oh, so what if I am and so what if I'm not?" Fang Yang asked calmly. "That's good. I have something to ask you. You'd better answer honestly and don't hide anything." Xia Ping went straight to the point, not wanting to waste too much time. "Who do you think you are? You want us to answer you? Do you believe that we won't chop you into pieces?" Hearing this, Fang Xan was immediately enraged. Her heart was filled with hostility. After being chased by demons for so long, she had long become extremely violent. Now that a weak human dared to order her around like this, how could this be? Xia Ping did not even look at her and lightly flicked his finger. Dong. Fang Xian did not know what happened. Her entire body was bombarded by a force and she flew out. She scraped the ground and slid for over 100 kilometers before smashing into a mountain. "Sister." Fang Yang was shocked, angry and afraid. He was shocked and angry that this kid dared to attack his sister, but he was also frightened by this stranger's terrifying strength. To be able to so easily send his sister flying like a ball without them being able to react, this power was simply not to be underestimated. Chapter 2034. "Sister, are you all right?" Fang Yang asked nervously as he looked at his sister. I'm fine." Fang Xan was also scared half to death. Her face was ashen as she trembled all over. Xia Ping's attack just now made her feel as if her life had been frozen in water. It was as if even her spirit had been torn apart. She could not control her body in any way as she retreated. This was simply the moment when she was on the verge of death. Countless scenes from the past emerged from the depths of her mind like flashing lights. At that moment, she felt so regretful that her intestines turned green. If she had known that this person was so terrifying, she would not have been so talkative. This was simply a disaster from the mouth. At this moment, she also clearly realized that she was no longer the princess of the soul race, but just a stray dog. Just when she thought that she was dead for sure, she completely regained her composure. She discovered that there was not the slightest injury on her body. She had only been sent flying. All of a sudden, she was pleasantly surprised. She had actually wandered between life and death several times, feeling the joy of being reborn. What? She's really fine. Fang Yang also sensed his sister's situation. On one hand he was relieved, but on the other hand he was aghast and extremely shocked. There was even a look of disbelief on his face. This was because to be able to send his sister flying without any resistance and also leave her unscathed, this was an astonishing level of control. It was simply the use of power to the acme of perfection. Perhaps only those who had martial arts cultivation far beyond their realm, experts at the almighty level, could do such a thing. This strength was something that even their soul race's grand elder could not do. One could imagine that the cultivation of this mysterious person in front of them had reached an unimaginable level. Thinking of this, Fang Yang immediately lowered his attitude. He came in front of Xia Ping and said humbly, "Senior, I'm sorry. My sister was disrespectful just now. I hope you can be magnanimous and forgive her this time." Seeing Xia Ping's appearance, Fang Xan was also terrified and did not dare to speak any more nonsense. The other soul race warriors also looked at Xia Ping with great vigilance. "Don't worry too much. This is a small punishment to warn you. The goal is to let you speak properly. Or if you think it's not enough and that a few people need to die before you can speak properly, I can fulfill your wish." Xia Ping stood with his hands behind his back, his body filled with a terrifying murderous aura. Immediately, many soul warriors felt as though they had fallen into a hell of corpses and blood. A chill surged from the soles of their feet and directly rose to the top of their heads. It was as though even their souls had been frozen by this killing intent. Against this human they were completely powerless. It was as if he could kill them all with a single thought. No. Of course we can talk nicely. What does Senior want to know? I will tell you everything I know." Fang Yang said again and quickly lowered his attitude. If he provoked the mysterious man in front of him, he would die now before the pursuers came. Damn it. Fang Xan and the others were very unwilling. If the Patriarch and the Great Elder were still here, this guy would have been killed long ago. How would he dare to threaten them like this? This was simply a case of a tiger being bullied by a dog. Very well, then let me ask you, what kind of world is this? Who are you people? Also, which force is the most powerful in this world? Xia Ping asked a series of questions. He didn't care about exposing his identity as an outsider at all. With his current strength, apart from saints, there was no one that could make him feel fear. Hearing this, Fang Yang's eyes flashed. To be able to ask this kind of question meant that this person was most likely not from this world, but someone from the outer realm. Just like the Killing Curse Saint and the other monsters, they were also experts from the outer realm. He didn't find it strange at all when they came from the outer realm. However, he quickly restrained his emotions and respectfully told them some of the information he knew. 10 minutes later, Fang Yang finally told them everything he knew. In any case, this information was already known to everyone, so it didn't matter if he told them. I see. Xia Ping rubbed his chin. From what Fang Yang said, he knew that the most powerful force in the Azure Sea realm was the Killing Curse Saint. It was this demon saint that ruled this world. Moreover, this demon saint had only arrived in this world tens of thousands of years ago. It seemed that it had unintentionally discovered this world. As a result, the Soul Clan was ruled by it and had always been oppressed. However, this situation completely changed when Lu Rulan came. Lu Rulan completely activated the Soul Hall inheritance of this world, which attracted the attention of the Killing Curse Saint. In the end, the Killing Curse Saint wanted to capture Lu Rulan alive to obtain the inheritance of the Blood Soul Saint. It didn't expect Lu Rulan to have a backup plan. She had various tricks left behind by the Blood Soul Saint, which allowed her to escape easily. However, this completely angered the Killing Curse Saint. It captured all the people from the Soul Clan and killed them one by one in an attempt to force Lu Rulan to appear. However, Lu Rulan never appeared, and the Soul Clan suffered heavy casualties. Because they had predicted the danger beforehand, Fang Yang and the other nobles escaped immediately and barely escaped with their lives. Unfortunately, their auras were already known by the group of monsters. If they leaked even a little bit of their aura, the group of monsters would know and chase them from tens of thousands of miles away. There was no way to escape. Senior were being chased by the Monster Kings. The situation is critical. If you continue to stay with us, I'm afraid you'll be mistaken as an accomplice and meet with misfortune. Fang Yang warned them vaguely, indicating that they were already in big trouble. If they continued to stay with them, they would definitely become a thorn in the side of the Monster Kings. He hoped to send this plague away as soon as possible so that they could reach the blood mist forbidden land in peace. At that moment, Xia Ping suddenly sensed something. He lifted his head and looked into the sky. Fang Yang and the rest also saw Xia Ping's strange behavior. They couldn't help but look over as well. However, what they saw made their souls jump in fright. It was because a black spaceship was flying over from afar like a fish. There was a skull pattern on the spaceship, emitting an eerie aura of death. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. In an instant, more than 100 figures flew out from the black spaceship. Each of them exuded a powerful aura that was as deep as the abyss. They stood in the void and looked at Fang Yang and the rest mockingly. It was as though they were looking at ants. The leader of the group of Monster Kings, who had a lion head and a human body, laughed coldly. Found them. The remnants of the Soul Clan. Attack and capture all of them alive. Kill anyone who dares to resist. Leave no one alive. Kill. Chapter 2035. Swoosh swoosh swoosh. In an instant, more than a dozen demon kings attacked at the same time from all directions, covering the sky and earth, completely surrounding Fang Yang and the others. The surrounding demon chi soared into the sky, and the black fog filled the air, forming a storm, sweeping everything. They only sent out a portion of their troops and the other demon kings were watching. Because if all the demon kings were dispatched, it would be like killing a chicken with a butcher's knife. Oh no, it's the Cursed Legion. How did they arrive so quickly? We clearly got rid of them by tens of thousands of kilometers. The group of soul warriors saw this scene, and their expressions changed drastically. They were scared out of their wits as if they had met the Grim Reaper. Because the Cursed Legion was too terrifying, there were many experts in it. Their clan leader, elders, great elders and countless elite warriors died in their hands. No matter how powerful the warriors were, in front of this legion, they were as weak as ants. Once the other party attacked, it meant that they would suffer countless casualties. Now this legion actually sent out more than 100 demon kings. It was simply an elite force and they surrounded them in all directions. Were they all going to die today? It's over, it's completely over. We're dead. What should we do? Escape. Fang Xn panicked and quickly transmitted her voice. Although she was in despair at the moment, her strong desire to survive dominated her. She still didn't want to die, especially after experiencing life and death just now. She didn't want to die even more. Escape? How can we escape? Hundreds of demon kings have gathered, sealing the sky and locking the earth. There's no way to escape, we can only wait for death. Fang Yang was also in despair. He could sense that the demon kings who did not attack were not watching the show, but intentionally or unintentionally sealed the space to prevent them from escaping. Under such close surveillance, it was as difficult as ascending to heaven to escape from these demon kings. Right, there's also this mysterious man. He's strong. If he makes a move, he will definitely be able to resist for a while. In this way we can use him as a shield and escape easily. Fang Xan transmitted her voice and immediately came up with an idea to let Xia Ping be a scapegoat. Don't worry, he's already on the same boat as us. We don't need to encourage him, he will make a move, otherwise we will all die. Fang Yang's eyes revealed a vicious look. Boom. At this moment, more than 10 demon kings charged over from the sky. They transformed into demonic winds and moved as fast as lightning, reaching an unbelievable speed. In an instant they arrived before everyone. Remnant of the soul race, surrender immediately. Kneel on the ground and beg for mercy, or you will be killed without mercy. The dozen or so monster kings roared angrily, emitting a powerful pressure in an attempt to subdue Fang Yang and the others. Scram. Xia Ping stood there with a calm expression. He looked at the group of monster kings and said, "Don't make me angry. If you leave now, I can pretend that this never happened. Otherwise all of you will die. Do you understand?" Upon hearing this, the surrounding Spirita's warriors were all dumbfounded. Was this kid crazy? Did he not know what the current situation was? He actually dared to provoke him. Could it be that he didn't want to die fast enough? Fang Xan and the others were overjoyed. Idiot, truly an idiot. Even at this point he still dares to provoke us. Those demon kings will definitely be enraged by his words and will definitely kill him. Indeed, the dignity of the Curse-Killer Legion cannot be humiliated, and they cannot tolerate sand in their eyes. This kid is dead. However, this person's background is unfathomable and his martial strength is extraordinary. He may not die so easily. The stronger the better. It's best if this kid dies together with these demon kings. We can then reap the benefits and obtain the treasures on these people to strengthen ourselves. Fang Yang, Fang Xan, and the others were overjoyed. They secretly communicated with their divine senses. They did not expect that Xia Ping would take the initiative to provoke them at this time. He took the initiative to fight them. This was the same as taking the initiative to die in their place. They felt that their luck today was too good. They actually encountered such an idiot. Perhaps today was their lucky day, blessed by their ancestors. What? There are actually humans in this place? Where did they come from? Who cares where they came from? If they dare to obstruct our Curse-Killer Legion, they will all die. Kill them all together. Dismember their body into 1,000 pieces. These demon kings were furious. As the strongest army under the command of the demon sage of the killing curse, they were somewhat famous even in the central universe. Needless to say, in this Qinghai realm, they were simply invincible, causing people to tremble in fear. Now, there was actually someone who saw them and was not afraid. He even neighed and stopped them on the spot. How could this be? Wasn't this the same as tearing the ground on the head of a tiger? Boom. More than a dozen monster kings immediately turned around and attacked Xia Ping. The demonic wind formed a terrible storm, destroying heaven and earth. It seemed as if it would raise the surrounding tens of millions of kilometers to the ground. The wild wind that swept up in all directions suddenly turned into sharp blades, cutting the ground into countless ravines. In the distance, mountains were flattened by the wind blades. Fang Yang and the others were also sent flying by this demonic wind. They could not stand steadily at all. Their hearts were cold. Just the demonic wind that came from around them was enough to make them unable to fight back. If they fought head-on, they would probably all die in a single exchange. Why do you want to die? Why bother? Xia Ping sighed and shook his head. He did not do anything. He just punched the void. This one punch seemed to have turned the area within a radius of 1,000 miles into a vacuum zone. All the air was expelled, forming a terrifying spatial barrier. The entire world shook fiercely. Heaven and earth were in chaos, and ripples appeared in the surrounding void. Dong. The dozen or so monster kings did not know what had happened. Their eyes were wide open, and their faces were filled with malevolent, evil, and cruel expressions. It was the kind that made people shiver. But in the next second their bodies shattered. They were forcibly flattened by a mass of air and crushed into meat paste. Boom. More than a dozen fireworks appeared in the air. The bodies of these monster kings exploded into pieces and turned into meat paste. Blood flew in all directions like fireworks. This? Fang Yang and the other soul warriors were dumbfounded. They were so shocked that they could not even close their mouths. Those were more than a dozen monster kings, terrifying experts who could slaughter more than half of their soul race. There were also existences in the lightning tribulation realm among them. Such experts were insufferably arrogant and invincible. But what happened now? With just a single punch, more than a dozen monster kings were blown up. Their bodies shattered like watermelons. Such a scene was too shocking. Even if they exhausted their imaginations, they would not have thought of such a thing. What happened? Fang Xian was in disbelief. She did not expect that more than a dozen terrifying monster kings would be killed just like that. They were unable to resist at all. Chapter 2036. How could this be? In the air, the monster kings were completely dumbfounded. They'd originally been watching this massacre as if they were watching a good show. This was a one-sided battle, something to talk about after a meal. But what had happened now? In the blink of an eye, more than 10 powerful monster kings had been killed, blown apart by a single punch from this human. Powerful, he's just too powerful. He killed more than 10 of our companions with a single punch. This kind of power is at least at the titled Monster King level. Damn it, how could such a human expert appear in a place like this? He's definitely an outsider. He can't be a native of the Azure Sea realm. How could this be? This world has long since been sealed by Master. It's impossible for outsiders to invade. How did this human get here? The monster kings were all panicking. They'd never encountered something like this before. In their eyes, this was just an ordinary mission. They didn't care about this human who'd suddenly appeared. They could kill him at any time. But now they'd kicked an iron plate. Run, hurry and run. Report to Master that an enemy has invaded the Azure Sea realm. Send reinforcements to surround and kill them. The lion-headed leader sent a divine sense transmission. The current situation was extremely complicated. The Azure Sea realm had been invaded by a human. Someone had broken through Master's restrictive spell formation. This was unprecedented. They had to find out what had happened. They couldn't fight to the death with this mysterious human. You think this is your home? You can come and go as you please. Do you think this is your home? Xia Ping calmly looked at the monster kings. Boom. In an instant, an incomparably terrifying pressure erupted from his body. This was the might of a divine beast. It was as if a mythical figure had walked out of the primal chaos. Just a wisp of his aura could crush the heavens. At this moment, the entire world fell silent. All living things were silent. The air stopped flowing. All the air currents stopped moving. Everything had completely stabilized. The water droplets and dust in the air stopped moving. The surrounding trees, weeds and other plants stopped swaying. The insects on the ground seemed to have been immobilized. They suddenly stopped moving. All the monster kings that were trying to escape stopped. Their bodies were frozen in place. Even Fang Yang and the other soul warriors were unable to move. Even the magic power within their bodies had stopped circulating. Some demon monarchs attempted to flap their wings and soar into the sky. Some demon monarchs took a step forward while others turned around. Some demon monarchs opened their mouths as though they wanted to say something, but all of them stopped. The surrounding void seemed to solidify, as if it had turned into an eternal picture. The only thing that could move was their minds. They could barely think. They wanted to move, but their bodies wouldn't listen to them. The only one who could move in this world was Xia Ping. I am a petty person who will seek revenge for the smallest grievance. Xia Ping stood with his hands clasped behind his back, his expression indifferent. I might not remember those who gave me benefits, but if you offended me, I would never forget it, not even if the heavens and earth grew old. You dared to attack me and unleash your killing intent, so you are my enemies and you must die. Since you're courting death, you can't blame anyone else. He stood where he was, and his body naturally emitted a terrifying pressure. The surrounding soul warriors and demon monarchs were alarmed. Even if they wanted to move, they couldn't. The pressure was terrifying to the extreme, as though countless sealing array formations were pressing down on them. Many demon monarchs from the Cursed Death Legion were terrified, and their souls trembled. They were all demon monarchs, and many of them had reached the Lightning Retribution realm, or even the peak of the Lightning Retribution realm. This power, except for sages, could sweep away almost everything. Even the famous titled demon monarchs could be easily crushed by their power. Therefore, when they moved, they were simply invincible, not putting anyone in their eyes. But now this kid in front of them didn't even move. Just the terrifying pressure emitted from his body was enough to make the world tremble, making them unable to move. What kind of power was this? Was he still considered a Lightning Retribution realm powerhouse? This was too exaggerated. But before they could think for long, Xiaoping stretched out his hand and pressed down gently. Bang! Bang! In midair, the bodies of the demon monarchs immediately exploded like watermelons shattering. Their primordial spirits were also shattered in an instant, and a large amount of blood poured down like raindrops. A large amount of blood poured into the ravine deep in the ground, seemingly turning into a blood river, and the surroundings were filled with a strong smell of blood. Whoosh! A vortex naturally appeared in Xiaoping's body, with his body as the center, producing a terrifying devouring power. Deep in the void, the broken soul energy was automatically absorbed by his body. The soul energy of hundreds of demon monarchs quickly flowed into the depths of his primordial spirit. His primordial spirit was also growing bit by bit, and the magic power in his body was also rising. Although the soul energy of hundreds of demon monarchs was nothing to the current Xiaoping, and devouring it was better than nothing, it was still better than putting out a cart of firewood with a cup of water. If this continued for a long time, there would definitely be earth-shaking changes. This was the so-called cultivation, the accumulation of daily little by little, in the end would form a river and an ocean. Whoosh! Xiaoping waved his hand and stored the bodies of the dead demon monarchs. The flesh and blood of these demon monarchs also contained a lot of essence energy, and in the space of the mountain river pearl, they would be good fertilizer. He also took away the storage rings of these demon monarchs, and obtained many magic treasures, spiritual medicine and pills. Where were we just now? After killing all the demon monarchs, Xiaoping turned around and looked at Fang Xian and the others who were already stunned. This. Fang Xian and the others were dumbfounded. They did not know what to say to this terrifying existence in front of them, who had killed hundreds of demon monarchs with a wave of his hand. At this moment, endless fear and horror surged in their hearts. This was because if the other party wanted to, he could crush all of them at any time and place. Blood Mist Forbidden Land. We were just talking about the Blood Mist Forbidden Land. Fang Yang was the first to regain his senses, and he hurriedly said, afraid that if he was a step too late, he would anger the demon in front of him, and cause the people of the Soul Clan to die without a burial place. Very well, where is the Blood Mist Forbidden Land? Take me there immediately. Xiaoping was very curious about this place. Even the Killing Curse sage was afraid to enter this place, so it must contain endless secrets. Perhaps Lu Rulan was in this forbidden land. Yes, yes, yes. Fang Yang nodded repeatedly. He did not dare to disobey Xiaoping's request. Chapter 2037. A day later, Xiaoping and the others finally arrived at the Blood Mist Forbidden Land. As soon as they approached the Forbidden Land, they immediately discovered that the vast area was surrounded by a blood mist. It seemed to be boundless and permeated the void. No one knew how big the Forbidden Land was. At the same time, the blood mist seemed to contain a power that interfered with divine sense. If one probed it with divine sense, they would immediately be corroded by the blood mist. It even transmitted a terrifying demonic aura that corroded the soul. Interesting. Xiaoping narrowed his eyes. He activated the Golden Crow's Eye of Hell and immediately saw that this forbidden area was extraordinary. It was a saint-level spell formation that enveloped the void, and the entire ground was densely covered with spell formation inscriptions. This was probably the work of the Blood Soul Saint. Only such an existence could set up a saint-class formation like this. It was no wonder that the demon saint did not dare to enter the Blood Mist Forbidden Land at will. After all, this might be the Blood Soul Saint's lair. No one knew what the Blood Soul Saint had left behind. However, it wasn't so difficult for Xiaoping. His eyes penetrated through space and saw through the illusion, and he clearly analyzed the profundities of this formation. He understood it clearly, and he understood it from the bottom of his heart. Are we really going to enter the Blood Mist Forbidden Land? Fang Xian and the other soul warriors were uneasy and terrified. The Blood Mist Forbidden Land's infamy had long spread throughout the Qinghai realm. It had been deeply implanted in their hearts for countless years. Everyone knew that it was a forbidden land of no return. Moreover, this was not a legend. It was a fact. Almost every year, people would try to explore the Blood Mist Forbidden Land and disappear inside. At the thought that they were about to enter such a forbidden area, they felt a chill run down their spines and had the thought of retreating. Of course, Fang Yang said matter-of-factly. In order to avoid being chased by those monsters, we can only enter the Blood Mist Forbidden Land. Otherwise we will die sooner or later. Yes. Hearing this, many soul warriors nodded. It was true. If they had a choice, they naturally did not want to go in. However, they had no choice now. If they did not go in, they would die. If they went in, they might have a chance of survival even if it was a narrow escape. Let's go in. Xia Ping did not want to waste time with these people. He lifted his foot and walked in. The wish compass was also guiding him. Lu Rulan should be deep inside the Forbidden Land. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. When Fang Yang and the others saw this, they did not hesitate and followed in. Boom! As soon as they entered the blood mist Forbidden Land, everyone immediately felt that they had fallen into an endless blood mist. The surrounding blood mist seemed to have a life of its own as it drilled into the 108,000 pores of their bodies. Immediately they couldn't help but let out a moan. The blood-colored mist was like a great supplement to their energy, crazily pouring into their bodies, increasing the energy of their flesh and blood. My heavens! My magic power! My nascent divinity! They're all increasing at a crazy rate. What is this blood mist? Why is it able to increase our strength? It's too fast. The speed of cultivation is just too fast. It's as if every breath is equivalent to 3 months of cultivation. Could this be the holy land of cultivation that the ancestor has bestowed upon our soul clan? As expected, this place is the treasure of my soul race, not some forbidden land. Many soul warriors were extremely excited. They felt that their cultivation, which had not loosened for a long time, had begun to loosen after devouring the massive amount of blood-colored fog. Their dermic powers and cultivation were increasing at a visible rate. Xia Ping narrowed his eyes. He didn't feel this way because the blood-colored fog had seeped into his body and was trying to invade his soul, destroying it crazily. Even the surrounding restrictive array formations were extremely malicious towards him. A huge amount of corrosive energy seemed to wrap around his entire body, corroding him completely, leaving not a single drop behind. Clearly, the restrictive formation in this forbidden land was specially designed to deal with outsiders. If someone who wasn't a member of the soul race entered, he would be treated as an enemy and be annihilated. Corinne, do you know what this blood-colored fog is? Xia Ping asked. Upon hearing this, Corinne immediately replied, Be careful. This is the famous corrosive soul fog. It seems that the blood soul saint created it by absorbing the soul fog from the depths of the dimension. If you devour the soul fog, you can immediately obtain a massive amount of soul energy. For the soul race, this is simply a great tonic, equivalent to the primordial chi of the human race's holy land. However, the blood soul saint is sinister and ruthless. He even modified this soul fog. It seems that he added special substances such as evil chi, corrosive chi, cursed chi, and so on into it, creating the corrosive soul fog. As a result, this fog has a strong repellent property. If someone who isn't from another race enters the fog, they will be completely corroded, leaving nothing behind. Corinne said that when the blood soul saint was rampaging through the universe, every time he started a war, he would summon the corrosive soul fog to envelop the entire battlefield. Wherever he went, he was invincible, causing countless deaths and injuries. After all, staying in the corrosive soul fog not only greatly increased the strength of the soul race warriors, but also accelerated the recovery of their soul power. However, other races would be rapidly corroded and wouldn't be a match for it at all. Soul fog? It looks like a good thing. Devour it for me. Upon hearing this, Xia Ping's eyes lit up. He operated the devouring magical ability in his body, and a Tao Tai appeared behind him. It opened its mouth and a black hole appeared, producing a terrifying devouring power. Not only did he not repel the blood-colored fog, but he also took the initiative to devour it into his body. Although the blood-colored fog was extremely harmful to other races and had a strong repellent property, it was still a huge amount of pure energy. Under the Tao Ye's devouring magical ability, no matter what it was, it would be devoured cleanly. Everything would be completely refined, including the blood-colored fog. It couldn't harm him at all. Whoosh, with his body as the center, the area within a radius of 1,000 kilometers turned into a huge whirlpool. Like a whale swallowing, the huge amount of blood-colored fog frantically surged into Xia Ping's body. Phew! Xia Ping took a deep breath and felt extremely comfortable. It was as if with every breath he took, he could devour a huge amount of soul energy. This was several times better than killing a few Thunder Tribulation Realm experts. He felt that his primordial spirit was growing at a speed visible to the naked eye. The range of his divine sense was also expanding bit by bit, and the 9 purple mansion spaces were also expanding. Buzz, the entire restriction formation seemed to be a little stunned at this moment. It completely didn't expect such a thing to happen. In the face of the corrosive soul fog, someone who wasn't from the soul race was actually able to devour and absorb it wantonly. It was too unreasonable. Chapter 2038. Gulp, gulp. Xiaoping continued to devour the fog around him. In just a few breaths, the blood-colored fog within 1,000 miles was completely devoured. Even the blood-colored fog in the distance continued to fill in the gaps. However, Fang Yang and the others could see the color of the blood-colored fog. It seemed that because of Xiaoping's devouring, the color of the fog had dimmed and become much thinner. Many of the Spirita's warriors were stunned. For tens of thousands of years, the Scarlet Forbidden Land had remained unchanged for tens of thousands of years. But because of this human, it had become like this. Could it be that this fellow wanted to devour all the scarlet fog? They were shocked, angry, anxious, and panicked because they could feel that the fog was beneficial to their bodies. This should be a fortuitous encounter that the old ancestor had bestowed upon the soul race. But now, it was actually taken away by an outsider. They were so angry that they could not wait to drive this bastard away. But after careful consideration, they still endured it because they could not defeat him at all. Beep, beep. At this moment, a mechanical voice seemed to come from the depths of the void. Emergency. Emergency. Taotai invasion. Taotai invasion. Suggested immediate expulsion. Suggested immediate expulsion. Xiaoping blinked. He realized that the surrounding restrictive formation seemed to have changed. Formation after formation appeared from the depths of the void, filled with dense spatial energy. The spatial energy quickly turned into transparent spatial chains. One after another, thousands of them flew over, trying to capture Xiaoping and directly teleport him out. Obviously, the restrictive formation here could not kill a Taotai, so it could only teleport him out. This was also the second defensive restrictive formation of the Scarlet Forbidden Land. How stingy. Didn't I just devour a little bit of your soul fog? Is this necessary? And you want to teleport me away? Xiaoping was very angry. He felt that this blood soul saint was too stingy. He had only devoured a little bit of the corrosive soul fog, and yet the restrictive formation's defensive mechanism was activated to teleport him away. It was like sending away a god of plague. He did not have the generosity of a saint at all. Of course, as he spoke, he also tried his best to swallow a few mouthfuls. The blood-colored fog within a radius of thousands of miles was completely devoured by him. It was as if the entire area had been emptied. And this action further stimulated the restrictive formation, speeding up the formation of the spatial restrictive formation. Immediately, an energy barrier formed, enveloping Xiaoping and teleporting him away. I'm done playing with you guys. Xiaoping didn't want to be teleported away. Otherwise, he wouldn't know where he would be teleported to. He didn't know how long it would take for him to return to the Azure Sea realm. His infernal golden crow's eyes shone brightly, and he saw through the densely packed restrictive spells in the void. At the same time, he discovered the 36 flaws of this restrictive spell formation. Whoosh! Xiaoping's silhouette flickered as he took a step forward. Using space teleportation, he instantly escaped from the range of the restrictive spells. The surrounding space fluctuated. In an instant, he disappeared from where he stood. He traveled through space and arrived in the deepest part of the Blood Mist Forbidden area. As for the other Soul Race clansmen, he didn't want to continue paying attention to them. Whether they lived or died would depend on their luck. In the next second, a spatial ripple appeared, and Xiaoping's figure appeared in another place. He found that he had arrived in a palace, and this place was a bathroom like a hot spring. However, this was no ordinary hot spring bath, because what flowed in the hot spring was not water, but liquid refined from all kinds of precious spiritual medicines. Every drop was priceless and contained enormous medicinal power. If one could cultivate in such a hot spring, one's cultivation speed would increase by leaps and bounds. Just by smell alone, Xiaoping could sniff out hundreds of familiar 1,000-year-old spiritual medicines and 10,000-year-old spiritual medicines. At that moment, he realized that a graceful figure had appeared in the middle of the medicinal hot spring. She was graceful and exquisite, and seemed to be absorbing the medicinal power in the hot spring, condensing her spiritual power. Xiaoping activated his infernal golden crow's eyes and saw through the steam. He saw the figure in the hot spring. It was none other than Lu Rulan. She was completely naked in the hot spring, and her beautiful eyes were closed. She exuded a mature and charming aura, and at the same time, a hint of elegance. She was like a high and mighty saint. After not seeing her for a few years, Lu Rulan seemed to have become more mature and charming. Her every move contained a flirtatious aura. Her beauty was shocking, and he couldn't take his eyes off her. Who's there? Suddenly, Lu Rulan seemed to sense an outsider's aura. She opened her beautiful eyes, and there was a glimmer of light in them. She immediately slammed her palm in Xiaoping's direction. The power of this palm alone had reached the level of a Dharma plane cultivator. Dong. Xiaoping pointed his finger lightly, and the power of the palm instantly turned into nothingness. It was as if it had entered a quagmire, and all the force disappeared without a trace. What? Lu Rulan was shocked. She didn't expect this invader to be so powerful. Could it be that the curse-killing demon saint's subordinate had already passed through the blood mist forbidden ground and arrived here? Thinking about this, she didn't hesitate and immediately used the Soul Clan's supreme magical power, Intrusive Dream. Buzz buzz in the blink of an eye, with her body as the center, the powerful divine sense of the soul race spread out, permeating a radius of several hundred kilometers. It was silent and seemed to pull the souls of all living beings in this area into a dream. Although the name of this magical power was ordinary, its effect was extremely terrifying. Once hit by this magical power, even a peak Thunder Tribulation Realm cultivator would be pulled into a dream. If they were to lose the battle in the dream, they would die. Even if they managed to stay undefeated, Lu Rulan could still take the opportunity to escape. Interesting. Xiaoping naturally felt the power of this spiritual magical power. With Lu Rulan's spiritual power, she could defeat most cultivators, but that didn't include him. If he didn't want to, no matter how powerful Lu Rulan was, she wouldn't be able to shake his primordial spirit. However, he didn't resist or struggle. Instead, he allowed the power of the dream to pull him into the dream. Boom! In the next second, Xiaoping's and Lu Rulan's silhouettes appeared in the dreamland. It was a pure white world. Tell me, who are you? How did you get into the blood mist forbidden ground? Wait, you're not the subordinate of the curse-killing demon saint. You're Xiaoping? What are you doing here? Initially, Lu Rulan had a serious look on her face as she tried to interrogate this invader. However, she soon realized that the figure in front of her was the partner that she had been thinking about day and night, the one who had undergone dual cultivation, Xiaoping. She was stunned. She had never imagined that she would see Xiaoping again like this. I didn't expect you to be so proactive. Is your body that hungry? Xiaoping took a step forward and immediately hugged Lu Rulan's slender waist. Hungry, my ass pervert? Let go of me. Chapter 2039. The night passed. In one of the palaces in the blood mist forbidden land, thunder rumbled and a scream was heard. Then it stopped abruptly as if a storm had just passed. Then there was an endless silence. Gangster, scumbag, liar. Lu Rulan's pretty face was flushed as she glared at Xiaoping. This bastard was a beast. They had just met and he had already pushed her down. While she was unprepared, he took advantage of the situation. In the end, she was eaten by this gangster and lost her innocence. It was her fault for not insisting. Under this bastard's sweet words, she gave in and lost her innocence, turning from a girl to a woman. However, she could not do anything about it. She had gone through spiritual dual cultivation with Xiaoping. Both of them were naturally close as if they had lived together for decades. Now that they had not seen each other for years, as the saying went, absence makes the heart grow fonder. The telepathic heart technique was activated and burned. Moreover, a man and a woman were alone in a room. It was like dry wood meeting fire. How am I a liar? Xiaoping felt innocent and blinked. He had always thought of himself as an honest man. How are you not a liar? You said you're just going to rub around and not go in. I'd be a fool to believe you. You men are all bad. Lu Rulan spat and bit Xiaoping's shoulder hard. However, this bastard's skin was as tough as cowhide. Even if she was a puppy, she could not break his skin. I'm not lying. It was just an accident. At first I just rubbed against you, but I accidentally slipped in. It's an accident. No one wants it to happen. Xiaoping said casually, indicating that it was just an accident. Hee hee. Lu Rulan chuckled. She felt that this bastard's skin was not only as tough as cowhide, but his skin was also extremely thick. He was impenetrable. Even a sacred weapon might not be able to penetrate his skin. Slipped in accidentally? Why didn't you slide somewhere else? Boom. At that moment, the entire palace shook violently. What's going on? Could it be that such tremors are normal in the blood soul forbidden land? Xiaoping squinted his eyes. It's not normal. Lu Rulan shook her head. This means that someone outside has passed the test of the blood mist forbidden land. Someone from the Soul Clan has entered the forbidden land, which triggered the activation of the blood mist forbidden land. She looked at Xiaoping strangely because only the soul race could enter the blood mist forbidden ground. Anyone else who entered the blood mist forbidden ground would die. The subordinates of the cursed demon saint tried to break in, but they all died without exception. But this guy was able to come in, and he didn't even trigger the restrictive formation of this forbidden area. It was extremely strange. However, Lu Rulan did not know that Xia Ping had seen through the weakness of the restrictive formation and came over in one step. This was equivalent to cheating in the exam through the back door. It was normal that he didn't trigger a reaction from the restrictive array formation. So that's how it is. It seems that Fang Yang's group of Soul Clan members have passed the test and walked in. Xia Ping nodded, indicating that he understood. Fang Yang? How did you meet them? Lu Rulan furrowed her brows when she heard this. Xia Ping replied, as soon as I arrived in the Azure Sea realm, I ran into them. He then told her about his encounter with Fang Yang and the others, indicating that they had only met by chance. What? It seems like you're not very friendly to people of the same race. Xia Ping asked. Friendly? Lu Rulan laughed coldly. When I was first teleported to the Azure Sea realm, I thought that they would be friendly since we're from the same race. However, I didn't expect that when this group of people saw me, they revealed ferocious expressions and immediately wanted to capture me. They wanted to interrogate me about my origins, obtain my magic treasures, secret techniques, and so on. They even wanted to torture me. Fortunately, I had the Blood Soul Saint's talisman. In order to protect me, they couldn't do anything to me at all. In the end, they could only live in peace with me. Even so, they sent a maid to monitor me at all times. Of course, on the surface they said that they would send a maid to serve me, but how could I not know what they were thinking? As the holy lady of the soul race with the heavenly soul constitution, Lu Rulan was born with the ability to see through people's minds. What happened next? What happened next? Xia Ping nodded. He had expected this because he could sense that Fang Yang and the others were hiding something. They might even be up to no good and had many ulterior motives. Therefore he was not surprised. After that, I accidentally activated the soul race's inheritance in the Azure Sea realm. As a result, I attracted the killing demon saint's attention. A large number of demons and ghosts came to kill me, and even the killing demon saint personally took action. Lu Rulan said in a low voice, fortunately, I activated the inheritance. At the crucial moment, the restrictive formation directly teleported me to the blood mist forbidden land. That's how I managed to avoid the killing demon saint's pursuit. Although this blood mist forbidden land is powerful, it might not be able to withstand the killing demon saint, right? Xia Ping felt that the restrictive formation of the blood mist forbidden land did not seem to be able to withstand the power of the saint. It's not that it can withstand the power of the saint, but this place contains many powerful, profound, and mysterious spatial formations, Lu Rulan said. If the killing demon saint enters, it will immediately be teleported to a perilous place in the universe. Even an immortal saint would die in a perilous place like that. Therefore, the killing demon saint sensed the danger and was unwilling to enter. I see. Xia Ping indicated that he understood. The spatial restrictions from before were indeed powerful. If he did not have the infernal golden crow's eye and powerful spatial divine power, he probably would not have been able to escape from the restrictive formation. If the killing demon saint had not found the flaw in the restrictive formation, it would definitely have been teleported away. It would not have been able to withstand it at all. Even if the opponent was an immortal saint, if he were to go to some perilous place in the universe, he would probably die. This was also a sinister plan left behind by the Blood Soul Saint. If this is the soul race's land of inheritance, it shouldn't be dangerous for the soul race to enter. Why has no one been able to leave this place after so many years, leaving behind the legend of the Forbidden Land? Xia Ping asked curiously. That's because this place is one of the soul race's supreme lands of inheritance. The requirements for the soul race warriors are extremely high. If they can't meet the requirements, they will stay here forever, unable to leave the land of inheritance, until they die of old age. Lu Rulan said that for countless years, no soul race warrior had met the requirements of the land of inheritance. Therefore, no one had been able to leave. That was why the legend of the Forbidden Land had been left behind, which terrified countless soul race warriors. Of course I'm different. I've passed the trial long ago and can leave at any time. Chapter 2040. Blood Mist Forbidden Land. Fang Yang and the others had basically passed through the Blood Mist Forbidden Land and arrived at a square. They saw that there were palaces around them, and the surroundings were also covered with densely packed restrictive formations, exuding a heart-palpitating aura. Is this the depths of the blood mist forbidden land? It's really incredible. Someone immediately sighed when he saw this scene. Previously, they thought that the blood mist forbidden land was a devil's lair, with countless people dying in and out. But now they actually entered so easily and none of them died. It was really incredible. I knew that the old ancestor wouldn't harm us. This place is the rise of our soul clan. Hiding in the blood mist forbidden land, even those demons can't attack us. We can recuperate in this place. Some of the Spirita's warriors laughed heartily, almost weeping bitter tears. After fleeing for such a long time, they could finally rest in peace. They were completely safe. Even if the group of demons under the demon saint of killing curse knew that they were hiding in the blood mist forbidden land, they probably wouldn't be able to break in. Fang Yang, Fang Xin, and the others were also overjoyed. They knew that they had indeed made the right bet. The blood mist forbidden land, which made countless people tremble in fear, was actually the treasure land of their soul clan. But where did that mysterious person go? Why can't I see him? Someone asked. They didn't know what Xia Ping's real name was, and they weren't even very clear about his origins. They could only refer to him as a mysterious person. They also looked around, but they still couldn't find any trace of Xia Ping. He probably died in that blood mist. This is the holy land of our soul clan. Only death awaits any outsider who enters. Even if that guy is powerful, there's no exception. Fang Xian sneered. Previously, that bastard had brought her a lot of humiliation. If he died now, it couldn't be better. It could be considered revenge. The others also nodded. They also felt that the mysterious person's chances of survival were not high. After all, even a tyrannical figure like the demon saint of killing curse didn't dare to enter this place. A mere mysterious person was nothing. Could that guy be stronger than the demon saint? Even thinking about it with their knees, they felt that it was impossible. But is Lu Rulan hiding in this place? Is that why the cursed devil saint hasn't found her? Someone suddenly asked, mentioning Lu Rulan's name. If that bitch is hiding in this place, I'll definitely teach her a lesson. It's all that bitch's fault for causing the deaths of our people. Even cutting her into 1,000 pieces wouldn't be too much. Fang Xian was filled with killing intent. The eyes of the other soul race warriors also revealed a malicious glint. It was obvious that they hated Lu Rulan to the core. If not for Lu Rulan, they would not be in such a miserable state. They were forced to hide like stray dogs. Oh, you want to cut me into pieces? I'm right here. If you have the guts, come and find me. At that moment, a figure flew out from the depths of the palace and arrived before Fang Xian and the others. The person who had spoken was none other than Lu Rulan. Xia Ping walked out of the palace and stood next to Lu Rulan. Lu Rulan? You're really hiding in this place, you bitch. Fang Xian's eyes were filled with hatred. She almost could not suppress the anger in her heart. Her body was filled with killing intent, and she wanted to pounce on Lu Rulan and tear her apart. However, before she could attack, her brother, Fang Yang, pulled her hand and spoke through divine sense. Don't be rash. That mysterious person is standing next to Lu Rulan. They seem to know each other. His expression was very solemn. What? At that moment, Fang Xian finally noticed Xia Ping, who was standing next to her. Her head that was filled with hatred immediately calmed down because Xia Ping's deterrence was unparalleled. If this mysterious person was protecting Lu Rulan, it would be useless no matter how angry she was. Moreover, if that mysterious person was enraged, they would all die. Damn it, why is this bitch with this mysterious person? Did she use her body to make a deal? I knew that there's nothing good about that kind of woman. Fang Xian clenched her teeth. She was very indignant and tried her best to slander them. You're all still alive? I thought you were all dead. How disappointing. Good people don't live long, but scourges live for thousands of years, Lu Rulan said plainly and glanced sideways. What? Hearing this, Fang Xian and the others were immediately enraged and glared at Lu Rulan. This bitch actually dared to say such things. It was this person who caused the death of their people, but she did not feel guilty at all. Instead, she was gloating. If the mysterious person was not standing next to Lu Rulan, they would have torn this woman into pieces. What's wrong? I'm not convinced. You nobles of the Soul Clan treat the people like animals. To survive in front of the demons, you have to bow and scrape. Who knows how many people have been sent out to be eaten by you, but you sing and dance every day eating fish and meat. You're so happy that you forget home. Lu Rulan laughed coldly. Of course, it's understandable if it's for the survival of the clan. However, you don't have such noble sentiments. It's purely for yourself. When I first came to the Azure Sea realm, I was alone. If I didn't have some skills, I would have been humiliated by you Soul Clan vermin. It's best if scum like you all die so that you don't tarnish the Soul Clan's reputation. She and the Soul Clan of the Azure Sea realm had a grudge against each other. Therefore, the cursed Devil Saint was dreaming if she thought she could use the lives of the Soul Clan to threaten her. On the contrary, she was still laughing. The more deaths the better. You. Fong Xan and the others were infuriated. Alright. We're all from the Soul Clan. We're facing a great enemy, so why fight among ourselves? In this time of crisis, we should unite and face the outside world as one. At this moment, Fong Yang stood up and acted as a mediator. He was still afraid that the mysterious person would listen to Lu Rulan and fly into a rage. If that happened, they would be completely finished. Right now, he could only brace himself to stabilize the tense atmosphere at the scene. What do you want? Xia Ping narrowed his eyes and looked at a maidservant in blue in the distance. She was hiding sneakily at the side. She took out a transparent pearl and threw it out. The other Soul Clan warriors were also shocked. They did not know why the maidservant, who was usually docile and harmless, would do such a thing. Boom. As soon as the transparent pearl was thrown out, 12 figures flew out from the depths of the pearl. Each figure emitted a terrifying demonic aura that shook the void. Fong Yang and the others felt their hearts tremble. It was as if these figures could communicate with the power of the void in the universe. Crack crack. Chapter 2041. Haha, thank you so much. Without your help, how could we have entered the Blood Mist Forbidden Land? Indeed, without the help of the Soul Race, I'm afraid we would have been annihilated in the Blood Mist Forbidden Land. As expected of the Forbidden Land set up by the Blood Soul Saint. It is indeed extremely dangerous. It was the right idea to come up with this plan. We can enter the Blood Mist Forbidden Land safely and complete the task Master gave us. 12 figures immediately appeared. They were the Monster Kings. They laughed heartily and were in a good mood. They felt that the plan they had come up with was very successful and smooth sailing. They were the Fire Bear King, the Aquatic Rhino King, the Wind Wing King, the Thunder Lion King, and so on. Each of the Demon Kings was far stronger than the monsters they had met before. Xia Ping could sense that these Demon Kings had all reached the title Demon King realm. They were half-step sages. Oh my god, Fire Bear King, Aquatic Rhino King, Wind Wing King, Thunder Lion King. Seeing this, Fong Yang's heart trembled. These are the 12 title Demon Kings under the killing cursed Demon Saint. Each Demon King is an extremely powerful existence and commands an army. They are extremely powerful. They are only one step away from becoming sages. They are also known as half-step sages. Now all of them have appeared. He could not believe his eyes. Back then, the killing cursed Demon Saint had annihilated most of the Soul Race's elites and only sent one title Demon King. Now, 12 title Demon Kings had appeared in this place. It was too exaggerated. Qinlan, what did you do? Why did you bring all these title Demon Kings with you? Fong Xen shouted angrily, calling out the name of the blue-robed maid. She was both shocked and angry. Originally, when they hid in the Blood Mist Forbidden Land, they were already safe and sound. They could rest and recuperate in peace, avoiding the pursuit of the demon race. But who would have thought that someone would betray the Soul Race and bring the 12 title Demon Kings with them? They even brought them into the Blood Mist Forbidden Land. Facing these tyrannical title Demon Kings, how could they survive? What did I do? Qinlan, the maidservant in blue, sneered. You can't blame me for this. I'm doing all this just to survive. You want to fight against the Demon Saint of Killing Curse with your remnants? You're just daydreaming. The reason why you were able to run so far is not because you're strong or because you're lucky. It's purely because those demons showed mercy and wanted to expel you into the forbidden land of blood souls to test it out. Otherwise, you'd have been long dead. In order to survive, she betrayed the remaining Soul Race warriors. In any case, when this group of people was alive, they might not have been very good to him. Every man for himself would be destroyed by heaven and earth. You. Fong Xian and the others were filled with regret. If they had known that this blue-clothed maid was a traitor, they would have killed her back then. They would not have waited until now and caused such a disaster. Now that 12 titled Monster Kings had appeared, it was a force that could crush everything. Moreover, they were still in the forbidden land of blood souls. Even if they wanted to escape, it would be impossible. At this moment they were all in despair. After fleeing for so long, it was all for naught. Not bad, you've done a good job. The Fire Bear King laughed. If you work for the demon race, you'll be able to live. If not for you, we wouldn't have been able to enter the forbidden land of blood souls. This is a great contribution. Thank you for the compliment, Lord. This is what I should do. The blue-clothed maid was overjoyed. Damn it. Seeing this scene, Fang Xian and the others were furious. They wanted to kill this maid immediately and tear her into pieces. However, with 12 titled monster kings here, they did not dare to move. After all, they were titled monster kings. They were terrifying existences that far surpassed ordinary monster kings. Any one of them could slaughter an entire world. Who could stop them? Even at the peak of the Qinghai realm, the soul race could not stop a titled monster king. Now that 12 titled monster kings had appeared, how could they fight? They could only wait for death. Lu Rulan, it's been really hard for us to find you. Even if you hide at the ends of the earth, we will still find you. Surrender now. No matter what you do, it's all in vain. The Wind Wing King looked at Lu Rulan mockingly. This time, their main mission was to capture the saintess of the soul race, Lu Rulan. As for the others, they were just minor details. As long as they could control this saintess of the soul race, it was equivalent to controlling the key inheritance of the Blood Soul Saint. This would be of great benefit to the Death Curse Saint. Lu Rulan sneered and did not speak. All of you retreat. At this moment, Xia Ping stood out and advised with good intentions. If you leave now, you still have a chance to live. Otherwise, you so-called titled monster kings will meet your end. It's this damned human. It's him. He killed many of our elites from the Death Curse army. Damn it. If it wasn't for Master's plan, we would have jumped out and killed him. How could we let so many of our brothers die? Now this brat still dares to jump out. He's courting death. Seeing Xia Ping appear in this place, many of the titled monster kings were furious. They recognized this human and wanted nothing more than to crush his bones and scatter his ashes. Previously, when they saw Xia Ping slaughter the elites of the Death Curse army, they were so angry that their teeth itched. They wanted nothing more than to jump out and fight with this human. However, in order to enter the Blood Mist Forbidden Land and deceive this group of soul race warriors, they endured it. Now, this brat actually dared to jump out again and appear in front of them. How could this be? They could not tolerate it at all. Kill? The Wind Wing King's speed was the fastest. His body emitted a terrifying murderous intent. He controlled the airflow of heaven and earth and flapped his wings. In an instant he appeared in front of Xia Ping. Bloodline Mystique, Endless Wind Blade. Swoosh swoosh swoosh. In an instant, tens of thousands of wind blades appeared in mid-air. Countless airflows condensed together, containing a terrifying cold light. It was as if a peerless swordsman had released a sword aura that was indestructible. The ground was also cut by the wind blades, tearing the ground into countless pieces. There were densely packed marks everywhere. These wind blades even quickly gathered together, forming the only wind blade between heaven and earth. It was as if a peerless swordsman's frightening blade had split the heaven and earth apart. Most importantly, the speed of this move was very fast. It was so fast that divine senses could not detect it. This was because the Wind Wing King was one of the fastest titled monster kings. The bloodline mystique that it used was even faster. Often, the enemy did not know what was going on and was already beheaded. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.